learn more things. Oh, it seems like we're live. Look at that. Look at that. I just need to wait for a moment here to, yeah, there we go. Okay, let's mute this. Ooh, this is so exciting. How's everyone doing? Lots of bekannte faces here, says Sebastian Schertel. Has it started? Yes, it has, Chad. You're in the right place. Welcome, 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 everybody. So, what are we doing here? Why am I here? I don't know what's going on. Welcome to Bridge Builders. Today we are going to look at Etch and at the advanced schema framework in Bricks in order to find out how we're going to build certain layouts in either of these tools. But before we bring in our awesome guests, why don't we just do a quick introduction for anybody who's new? I mean, it's been a while since we had a Bridge Builders episode. I think like easily half a year at least, right? Yeah, I would
Something
say
like that.
something like April is probably right. And so perhaps a little bit about the background. What's Bridge Builders? Originally, I was inspired by a video that Mark did back last February where he talked about tribalism in the WordPress community, where people are bashing each other's heads in over who has the better page builder. And I suggested, hey, why don't we just do a live stream where we bring people together and everybody brings their page builder and their skill sets, and we build different layouts, but not in a sort of competition type of manner, but more in just a way that we can learn from that. We can compare, we can take a look at how people do it and discuss live while that's happening. So that was the initial idea. And since then, we've had 8 episodes. Today is episode number 9. They tend to run pretty long, so this could easily go for 2 hours today. It has gone for 3 hours in the past, so be prepared. And yeah, perhaps do you guys want to quickly introduce yourselves a little? Mark?
Sure, for sure.
Say something about yourself in your studio there.
Maddie, great context. Appreciate that. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Yeah, we've been doing this we've had a little bit of a hiatus here and there, but I mean, we really enjoy these. We brought Brennan along to co-host with us. I don't know, maybe like 3 or so episodes in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm Mark Szymanski. I have a YouTube channel, kind of educate agency owners, freelancers, DIYers on WordPress. And then also I have an agency called Motive 11, where I service clients, build websites, strategy, things like that for them. So yeah, really excited for this episode. Should be a lot of cool stuff by the way of Etch and Bricks. So Brennan, what's up, buddy?
You know, I'm here because I love you guys and I love WordPress. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep, guys. I'm so tired. And I'm
we can
here
see
because I love you guys. And
it's good to have you, man.
I have yeah, I'm tired. I might go back to bed halfway through this. But it's not because I don't love you guys.
Okay.
But you know,
I'll be sure to take it personally.
We'll see what happens.
We appreciate being here.
I'm tired. I kind of forgot that we were doing this today. Because today's Halloween.
You may
when
want
I
to
play
stop
Battlefield.
talking, buddy. Just kidding. It's not going to get better.
It's Friday, I'm excited though. We're gonna see Etch. We're gonna see Advanced Themer.
Well, at least 2 of us are going to see.
Yeah, well, I'm going to see it from my bed in the other room, but it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to
be fun.
All right.
These are always fun. We always have people tune in and ask fun questions, and it's going to be great. So,
what builders are we between the 3 of us? What builders are we using these days to build websites? I know, Mark, you've pretty much transitioned to Etch, right?
Yeah, I still have client sites on even Elementor and Bricks.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm trying to, I'm appreciating what Kevin and the team are doing at Etch. So I'm heavily over there, keeping an eye on everything. Also an advisor for the team. So yeah,
I'm back to Dreamweaver. It's been great. It's awesome. No, I mean Etch is awesome. I've been building some client sites with Etch, building client sites in Bricks. You know,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's what
For
we
me,
do.
it's actually still bricks. I'm not gonna lie. I'm seeing a lot of Edge because also, first of all, in my network, some close friends are using Edge. So every once in a while, I look over their shoulders. We we hop on net meetings and just take a look at what it's doing and how it's working. And at the same time, I'm also watching Kevin's videos, not all of them, but a bunch. So I try to stay up to date with what's happening with Edge. But I'm still in Bricks Builders, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of took a liking to the advanced theme framework that was introduced. What, like, was it half a year ago now? 3/4 of a year, something like that. It's because it's tightly integrated with Bricks. I always had the impression that it worked it worked really fast, and it has pretty much all I need for building my small clients websites, like for the dentist or the daycare nanny or stuff like that. And that's what we're also going to discover today. Before we bring in the guests, there's just one more thing I want to bring up that's kind of, it's a little bit out of left field, but I think it matches what we're doing with this format. And I just want to plug this because I discovered it the other day. So let's take a quick look here. The Enemies Project. I don't think anybody here has heard about that, but what they're doing is it's a YouTube channel that I discovered like 3 weeks ago, something like that. And it's a docu-series. They're doing pretty much what we're doing, bridge building, except not within the WordPress world, but just within the world per se. They have a few episodes already, like about people discussing dictatorship under Trump, or a Palestinian and a Jew, pro-life and pro-choice people. And these episodes, like, to me, this touches me very, very deeply because it just really vibes with what I think the world needs right now. We need people sitting down together and just having conversations from different parts of the spectrum, right? Like if you're for or against one of the hot button topics of today, then you don't want to just scream at each other on Facebook. I think it makes more sense to sit down and really have a dialogue. And this show shows us what can happen if we do that. And if you guys are here not just to see page builders, but also because you think this is a mission that's worth pursuing, that creating dialogue, building bridges between people is something that's worth doing, then this project deserves more subscribers. And also they have a Kickstarter at the moment, and they deserve every fucking dollar they can get, as far as I'm concerned. So do yourselves a favor, if you think this makes sense, if you think this is something you might be interested in, watch at least the Do You Love Us? We Need Some Love video. It's just 4.5 minutes. It gives you a really great introduction to what they do. And if you can support them, go ahead. So that's it from my side, really.
Cool.
I should unshare my screen, and let's bring in these absolute legends. Alan and Kevin. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Hey, guys.
Really good. I'm kind of on Brendan's wavelength. I'm on stream number 4 this week. Also very low sleep. So I'm here. We're going to have some fun.
Good. I like it. Thanks for joining, man. It's good to see you again.
Get my energy up.
There you go.
What are you eating?
Excuse me.
Some little yogis. I don't know.
Oh, man.
Probiotic strawberry bites. I stole them from my kids. I don't know.
There you go.
Sounds very American. I have no idea what that is. Alan, you're in the evening. You're in Thailand.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
If I go quiet every now and then. I'm on the flight path, so you can't hear it because I've got noise cancellation. But every now and then there's a plane flying over and I can't hear things. So if I go quiet, that's the reason.
All right.
But yeah. So so Kevin, I saw a couple of your videos today, and funny as hell, mate.
Appreciate it.
We have.
Yeah.
What are we building? Who's ready to see what we're building?
Everyone.
Nobody. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. How do I share my screen? It's like I'm an old person. Okay.
Boomer.
Op.site is the site that we're looking at today. Thanks to Kevin for suggesting it.
I don't think we see it though.
We don't see. Oh shit. Oh my God. I'm so bad at this.
Mm.
Make a stunning personal site with Framer, by the way. I don't know. I'm sure we all knew this, but yeah, at least according to this thing was built in Framer, so I'm sure we can do better. But we're gonna take a look at how this intro section is built, and then if 3 hours in we still have time for other stuff, we can look at other stuff. Kevin, you also suggested looking at the header as well. Is that right?
No, I'd usually just say don't even bother with headers because
Yeah.
they just suck up so much time. I mean, that
Okay,
one's
so I
not
probably
tricky, but it's it's
misunderstood. It's definitely a good opportunity here to not just build a layout, but also look at how we can do this with, for instance, dynamic data CPTs. So that could be interesting. And also, like, how do we get some of these? How do we get this layout? I don't know if you want to. That's up to you. I'm just as curious as everybody else here about what you guys have prepared, but I wouldn't mind seeing how this small animation comes about. But obviously, we'll see where you guys can lead us. So what's going to happen is that we're taking this one person at a time, and then we're going to take turns. We're gonna find the right moments to interrupt, and then somebody else builds a little, and then we just talk about how it's done in either builder. And why don't we start with Alan? Are you ready? Do you want to show us what you got?
Yeah, sure. So, I guess questions first though is that a lot of you guys have been talking about using AT with ATF, and I wasn't sure how much of that you wanted me to go into and show you, or just show you how I would actually build this this layout. So we might just show the layout first, and if there's any questions around that, and we can come back to it.
With you being one of the two masterminds behind the Advanced Schema Framework, I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit about, just a couple minutes, of what is the ATF, how does it distinguish itself from other frameworks available for bricks, and what, perhaps just a quick screenshot, like how do you activate it in Advanced Schema, and what exactly does it provide, like the classes and the variables.
Okay, so this is my first time here. How do I share the screen out? Where's my...
Hey, I'm not alone. So it's right below
share screen. There we go.
Yep.
The button that says share screen, that's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. I thought so as well,
Okay.
once I discovered it.
Now, can we share the entire screen? We can. Okay. So, can you see that screen?
So far, no, it's not in the lobby or anything.
It says stop sharing.
Yep. No, it's there.
It's come up now. Okay. So I guess first thing to say about
everybody see it.
ATF.
we're seeing the grid view.
Yeah, I know. Let me see. Yeah, fuck it. I'll just do full screen. There we go. Go ahead. It's on.
I'm a little limited today because, as I was just saying before, my technology all broke today, so I'm just working off a small laptop screen here. So, as things happen. So the question around what is ATF, basically, it was a very small SAS framework that I was using. And some time ago, I just spoke with Maxime and said, why don't you integrate this with AT, because AT started supporting, because Bricks started supporting variables. And the AT variable manager had a bunch more features. So basically, I just gave Maxime what I was already doing, and he just basically made it work better with AT by creating some more features in the variable manager. We mapped them across to the Bricks theme, so there you got a starting point. And at the end of the day, apart from the AT color manager and some of the features in the editor, so if we have a look in here, the variables in here, so we go to, for example, our topography, I mean, all the sort of stuff here for setting your scales, all that sort of stuff, that was added by Maxime because of ATF. because he wanted to make that work a whole lot better. So effectively, he just took a very simple framework and just augmented it with features in AT. So it was never meant to be like a replacement framework for things like ACSS or core framework or anything like that. It was really just a set of presets that work with bricks. So it is not something you can use outside of bricks. It is something that you would use if you're using bricks. That makes sense?
Indeed.
Yeah, so effectively, one of the releases that Maxime did was in this AT menu up here. You include the AT framework. And all you do is check all the boxes, the tick boxes for what parts of the framework that you want to bring in. And we just got a bunch of global CSS variables, a couple of color palettes, some global classes. There's not a lot of those. This is not a heavily utility-based framework. It's mostly just a preset of variables ready to go, get you started. And then basically mapping those variables into the themes. So you can pick and choose which parts. I just mapped the whole lot in there. And there's a very, very small global CSS. And the only reason that existed is because there was things that you just could not do in the bricks theme. And unless you added global classes, which you had to add elements for bricks to output it. So very, very small amount of CSS, which now you can probably do away with now that in the theme, there's actually CSS that you can put into the theme now as well, which was, I think it was introduced a couple of versions ago. And then there's just a few recipes in here, which yeah, you can use if you want to. Once that's all imported, what you end up with is some colors here. So you can manage these colors. You can add to those. We're using basic color naming, primary, secondary, neutral, black and white. And by default, you get 6 variations of lights and darks and transparencies. And we just get some transparencies on the blacks and whites. And that's it for the colors. And you can manage these as much as you want, change them, whatever. And these also, this is something that Maxime added to support ATF, was adding a prefix so that you can say that these colors are part of the AT framework. So it just allows you to separate out colors that might be from a brand guide and stuff that's been defined as part of the AT framework. There's a very quick rush through I have to probably show you more to understand that a little bit more.
I think that's a great introduction.
Yep, and then basically all these variables that are in categories. And by the way, these are standard bricks variables, so you can actually edit these in the bricks variable manager as well. You don't have to use the AT one. When you use the bricks one, you lose a lot of these features, like the grouping here, things like where's our spacing? In your spacing, these scales, all that sort of stuff. You lose a lot of that when you edit it with the bricks editor. At least the last time I looked at the, and it's changing all the time, so I haven't even looked at the bricks implementation for a little while. So they may have this in there, maybe not.
Yeah.
But so that's all that sort of stuff. All this previews that was all added by Maxime.
I'm going to interrupt you right there. Just real quick, Chad is asking, seeing what you're doing now, it seems like I wouldn't need core framework if using advanced thema. And the answer to that, as far as I'm concerned, is yes, right?
So it depends on your workflow and what your expectations are. Like, you can create all of your own variables. You can create variations of these. You can create your own utility classes, just like you can do in core framework. I think core framework, I don't use core framework, but I think you get starter framework or starter utilities that you can set. It has some benefits in that it also works through Gutenberg and other builders as well with core framework. So that's outside of what you can do with ATF. So like everything, I don't like the idea of having to choose. I don't like the idea of saying you have to use ATF or you have to use core or you have to use ACSS. Use whatever works for you. So if it's what you're used to, it does the job.
The nice thing is that there's not going to be any conflict. Like if you in advanced thema, if you have it installed on your bricks, you can just not enable the framework, and then
Correct.
you just use
Correct.
core framework or ACSS, and there's no problem.
And the only bugbear I have now is the latest version of Bricks, where I've added all those templates, the new templates, and they pretty much duplicated all of these variable names, but put their own prefix in front of them.
Yeah.
So if you import any of those, you end up with the duplication of variables, which you don't need. So it starts getting more complex. People going, well, which one do I use and where do I change it? So someone asked that the other day, and I just said, well, if you're using ATF, don't use those Bricks pre-built templates. Use something like Brixies or whatever, and get the ones that are built for ATF, because otherwise you're going to create headaches for yourself.
Speaking of which, quick plug, Brixies is a banger. It's really awesome. So for people who don't know it, what I like about it is that you could just copy. Like there's no plugin that you need to install. You just go to the Brixies website and you just copy the thing and you paste it into Bricks, and there it is, and it's fully compatible with ATF. So all the variables are already there.
Yeah, and again, I don't get this having to sit in a camp and everything else is rubbish. I think everything has its merits and everything has its challenges, and basically use what works for you. And it's not always going to be the same for every person. So that's my view. And so that's the variables and the colors. And what that also does is it maps it across to your theme. So your colors are mapped. So for example, your primary, secondary, light, dark, etc. They're all mapped from these colors over here automatically for you. Your typography, we only map the base font, the sizes. So if we go into our heading, for example, here, we're just mapping sizing variables. The rest of the settings you do in the theme. So if you want to change your fonts, your weight, your transform lots of stuff, you do that in the theme. So the only thing that's mapping is the sizing and spacing. Okay. So the other typical sort of stuff you'll see in there is in the elements for the section here. We've got section max width if you want to stop them blowing, sections blowing out on super wide screens. Your row gaps, and these all map back to those variables. So if you see, we had a bit of controversy of people saying, "Oh, why are you using prefixes?" And it's, I don't want to use prefixes. It's just extra letters that we don't need. The reason we've done that, if you see AT there, oh, I know that's set in here. That's where I find it. So I go into my spacing. That's where I'm going to find them. If it didn't have the AT in there, you don't know where to find it necessarily. Could be defined in custom CSS. Could be defined anywhere. And that's the reason we've added that variable. So the prefix, just so you know where to find them. And again, this is all starter. This is the thing with this. It's not a framework as such where it's all set in stone. This is just mapping things in to give you a starting point. Like for example, here with our sections, we have a container gap. So in our section, it spaces the containers apart. So anything that's in a container will be gapped. We'll have a gap of the row gap. If we go to the where are we? The blocks. The containers. Basically, it's just the box max width and then the row gap. If you go into a block, all you're getting in here is your column gap and row gap, so that if you created a grid, it's going to use the default content gap for your gaps. You don't have to define a gap if you want to keep it all consistent across the entire site. So again, it's just starting point mapping back to these variables over here. So my encouragement for anyone is whenever you go into the theme and you see, whoops, what did I do there? Click the wrong button. There you go, Kevin. You can click the wrong buttons quite easily. So whenever you see AT in here, don't just put a fixed value in there. Go back to the variables over here and use that as your single point of truth. That's pretty much what ATF is. There are a few, just go into the class manager. There is a few, where do I get to?
I think it won't open as, okay, never mind.
So there are a few. Maxime insisted on this. I don't know if he's in here, but he insisted on putting.
He's here.
So what I wanted, he's in there. So what I initially wanted was just a bare bones basics without all the frills and that can get quite confusing, particularly on small projects. But I think Maxime got a bit of pressure there to stick some animation stuff in there. He's got full documentation on how that works. But apart from that, it is basically these color sets, a few very, very simple variables, and there's not much really in these classes. That's the whole list there. Okay. And a color set, I'll just very quickly show you what a color set is. This is just an idea where, if you go into a color set and you stick some stuff in there, go to that section, use a color set, and let's say we want it to be our primary, and we want to use our primary dark 4. These change as well. The topography changes and everything as well, because it's inheriting the colors from this color set here. Is that too quick?
No, not for me at least.
So basically, these color set variations, all they're doing is setting variables that this color set class will apply to that content. It's just a way of keeping a single point of truth again for a set of colors. Then you can override it if you want.
And there's just a quick plug. You do have a video on your channel that goes into detail on how to use these color set classes and how to also make new ones. If you, in case you introduce your own colors to the color system and then you want to have matching color set classes, the video explains how to do that.
Yes, I do. And word of warning, my videos are pretty much hit the record it and stick it up there. There's no editing, unfortunately, sometimes not a lot of pre-thought, so it's what you get. Okay, so
It's all free.
Sorry?
It's all free content.
Yep. So that's pretty much what ATF is, and it just comes as a free add-on with advanced SEMA, and you just enable it.
So one criticism that could be leveled against it is, when I started using it, I discovered a bunch of things that were first introduced in ACSS. So if somebody were to say you're just copying ACSS and copying innovations that they already did, what would be your response?
CSS is CSS. Grids are grids, spacing is spacing. There's been lots of other frameworks around as well. I don't think it's a matter of copying. There's concepts that are pretty much the same, concepts that are similar. But look, HTML is HTML, CSS is CSS, and I don't buy that. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So so that's ATF or AT framework in a nutshell. Now, what you're seeing here though is I've got a couple of additions. I'll show you quickly. I'll reset this and we'll start again with this build. I've got a couple of additions in here that you won't have in your normal AT that I have added, and I've shared the code which makes these happen. One of those is there's a feature in Advanced Thema which you enable through these 3 dots, which is this sticky CSS. And with the sticky CSS, when you click on an element, your CSS appears down here. So it's just a quick way of getting to your CSS. The issue with that is that it's stuck inside that column there. That's pretty much all you can do with it, or you can go full screen. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I did here, actually, by the way, Maxime, and yes, Kevin, these are not synced, and that's something that I'm sure you'll bring up. The CSS and the inputs and the styling and everything in Bricks is not synced, as I believe it is in Etch. So, but because of that, if you're viewing CSS in the settings panel, this will not let you go into the editing of CSS here. It will just show you the compiled CSS instead. So that's just something you just need to be aware of, one trap that a few people fall into. But what I've added in my code is the ability to add this little move sticky CSS, and it sticks it down here. And yes, that is stolen from a video I saw in Etch. I thought that was a great place to put it. Makes much more sense to me when I'm working.
Okay, wait. I
And
was just distracted for a second there. How did you get it down there? You wrote your own CSS to put it there?
it's actually a bit of JavaScript that does
Okay.
that, and I shared that out through another
Right.
video.
Yeah.
I can send you links. So I just put them up on Gists, and basically you just enable it, and then you can. What happens is that when you enable your sticky CSS, you get this extra move sticky CSS button that sticks it over underneath the
Oh,
preview.
nice.
Okay. Now it's not perfect
Maxime,
because
are you listening?
yeah, Maxime version
Bring it.
3.9, whatever it is. Yeah. All right. So it's not perfect. When you have it over in its native position here, you've got this here, and you can easily move that up and down. You can see it's not perfect because of that there. But if you move it over to here, if you move too quickly upwards, you lose focus and it just doesn't work.
Mhm.
And then okay, now I can't fix that. I've tried a couple of things. I can't fix it. Anything I can do is move it back to here, resize it, and then stick it back again.
Okay.
Solves the problem for me, but that's the one little thing I can't resolve. But this helps me. The other thing I've done in here is added some JavaScript so that you can hold down Control and Shift and question mark, and it just toggles those two sidebars.
Oh, this is sick.
Or if you just want to toggle the left one, it's Control Shift less than. Toggle the right one, Control Shift greater than. So it's just a really quick
Right.
shortcut way of
Yeah.
giving yourself more screen real estate when you need it.
Yeah.
So that's different to what you will see in your AT if you don't have these code snippets.
Mhm.
Until Maxime
So
says, hey, I'm going to implement that.
let's see some action. I see you already started building this, but
Yes.
of course, what we want to see is how do you do it from scratch? Like how do you start from a blank screen, and how do you get these bad boys to work?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll go back to WP Reset. I'm just running this on local, by the way, so
Okay.
just let me restore that. Okay. Oh, that didn't get me to relog in. That's interesting. Okay, so basically what I decided to do with this one is just set up through ACF. I just set up a basics options page and added a repeater for devices, and just put a label and grab the screenshots from PopSite.
Hmm.
So I've done that in advance. So do I need to show how that works, or that's
No, I think
more
that's
than
pretty
ACF?
clear.
Okay? Yep. Okay. So I've basically done that. Gone with this. I don't think we need a CPT because all we need is something for our alt tag and a screenshot. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if I go to pages, okay, it's got a bunch of garbage there. I actually should show you one other thing first before I do this. I'm just going to clear that out. In WP Code Box, so basically I've got three things I've installed, which is the Bricks Extra keyboard shortcuts, which is this JavaScript, and I do have a gist that I put up there for that. Actually, that's the old one. Let me just pull down the current one. I've just reset it and pulled down the old one. Didn't pull it in. Why didn't you pull it in? I did. Just took a little while to update. Okay, so I've got that. I've got the AT move sticky CSS, and that's asking for an update. And I've got you're asking about the animation. I created this a little while ago because I got sick of trying to figure shit out with GSAP, and this is a very simple scrub that I add. It just adds a scrub variable, and we just control that using data attributes on the element that we're tracking, and I use that instead of using GSAP. So that's the three things that you guys won't have. Why is that disabled? Unless you go and download those from the gist that I've already saved. Okay, let's refresh this.
This is also like one of the things that I really love about Advanced Thema is that with the keyboard shortcuts, you can also place elements. Like if you want to quickly show that off, if you go to the bottom right and enable the keyboard thing.
Yep. I thought I just got a message from Kevin, but it's not showing up here. Sorry, mate, I'm looking off a single screen laptop because my other machine died. Did you have a question, Kevin, or?
Yeah, jump in anytime.
No. It was that was Matt messaging the group.
Oh, was it? Oh,
all right. So it bounced. It came up on your screen.
All right. Sorry, it's just,
don't let me distract you. Sorry about that.
All right. That's okay. All right. So basically, let's get started. So I'm going to grab a section. I'm just going to call this my devices.
So just real quick, like what you could do now is you could have also just enabled the keyboard thing at the bottom right and then just pressed S, which is just, I love that. You just press S and then like HAU and then that's it. You got a section with a heading and a text and a button.
So using shortcuts to create all that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got used to just using these.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side, you know. So it's you give people a bunch of tools and everyone finds different ways to use them.
Of course.
I just find it easy enough to use these. So I get lost in keyboard shortcuts. I can never remember them. So,
right. Yeah.
So let's bring up that pop site. So my understanding is that we're doing this section here. Yep. With the devices.
That's it. Yep.
Okay. So I looked at this before. Basically, we've just got a flex row where, you know, these are all 280 pixels wide. That's 330 wide, just for inspecting through the through here. I think these are set to fixed. They are. Am I one down too far? I am. Sorry, so many divs here.
Yeah, we can do better than Framer.
Yeah, somewhere anyway up here it sets that to 280. If I go one more further up, I do. Oh, one more. No, there we go. Yeah, 280 pixels. So everything's set in fixed widths in pixels. And then they're using percentages to work out how to fit these things inside, which we're not going to do. We actually will use the percentages, but we won't position them with those.
So when I looked at this with a friend a couple of days ago, Anya, who's in the chat. Hey, Anya. We quickly realized that if you look at the source code of pop.site and then see how they did it, all you learn is that you shouldn't do it like that. And I'm sure there's better ways. This is not. It's pretty messy. Yeah.
So basically, what happens with this is it just shrinks as we and clips on the side of the screen, and we just lose the content on the sides.
Right.
So that's what we're building. Yep. Okay. So if we head back to the builder, so we've got a section here. We don't need a container because we're going full width. I'm going to call this my devices. Device. What have we got in our device? We've just got 3 images. One of them is just going to be an image, and that's going to be our shadow. Oops. I need your typing skills, Kevin. You type quicker than I can think. Oh, can't even spell. Okay, and that will be the device mobile mask. I'm not going to worry about the spelling, the typos, I think, too much. Okay, screenshot, shadow, and mask, and that also will be just an image. So the way I'm thinking is that the shadow and the mask are just decoration. The screenshot is an actual element that we're interested in knowing what it is. Okay, so we're going to do here, we're going to make that a UL, make that an LI. Now, one thing we don't have in ATF is we didn't go all out with utility classes. So this UL here is going to have some extra padding on the sides there. So we're going to have to create a utility class. This is something I've started doing is because you've got the AT classes, you've got classes for BEM. My preference now is when I create a utility, I just put util in front of it. So util list none. Okay, bring up that, and I just do a capital R and tab. That's an AT thing that gives us a root block. Padding 0, margin 0. The style type of none, and there's our utility for list none. So you can easily create these yourself as you go when you need to. So the other thing, actually, I've got to go back up here, is with the pop side here, when you collapse, these go all the way to the edge. So we need to remove our, on our device section, actually what we're going to do here, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here, guys. Now that I've got my structure for my device, I'm just going to right click on that and use my class converter to create the BEM classes. And also, I should have done that there, is make that a element as a root component. That's probably the wrong wording now that Bricks has components. Do you know what that is, Matt, when you make it a component, root component?
In fact, at some point I saw Maxime explain it, and then I proceeded to forget it.
Okay, so when you make that a root component, it affects the BEM creator. So up the top here, if I now right-click on devices and go class converter, see got a green dot there. It's going to create that, but it's not going to create these classes.
Right,
because that's
but that
root
class is the root of its own family, sort of.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if we want that to be not also get additional classes, we just set that as a root. Then we can go to device section here, and we can use the class converter there, and that's only just going to create the class for that one section there. Okay. So now we've got our BEM classes created there. We want to get rid of our inline padding on that. So capital R, padding, inline. Thank God for all this type ahead stuff, because my typing is terrible. 0, and we'll put a heap of padding on the on that section just so we can get the scroll effect. And we'll set that to 100 VH just so we can get some scrolling, so we can play with that effect a little bit later.
Right.
Now our devices here. Now this is where I think what Kevin's doing with Etch, and I've only seen videos, I don't actually have Etch, has its merits in it's really encouraging people to do everything here in the CSS and the HTML down here. Because one thing that gets really confusing with particularly newbies to Bricks is, do I do my styling here, or do I do it over here? And you end up with a mix of both. And I'm guilty of that myself, particularly if you just can't remember what the styling should be. You just head over to the UI and do it there. But what I encourage you to do is, if you do that, when you head over to the UI and you do it, so you go, say for direction you want to be a row, and we want to put our column gap, let's make that a bigger gap, so we're going to go gap. And this type of head here is part of AT. So we're going to use our large gap. We're not applying it to this class here, we're applying it to the Bricks UI, which is where I think is a big difference in what Etch is doing, is it's all synced to the same place. This is not. Okay, so if you do that because you can't quite remember what they should be, you can look at the compiled CSS here, pinch that from there, then get rid of it from here, and just paste it back in over there,
Right.
and then just
Yeah.
learn
Okay.
from it
Yeah.
as to next time you might remember, oh, that's flex direction row, that's column gap.
Right.
Okay, so when you do it a lot, you just start to remember a lot of these things. And to be quite honest with you, I'm actually not in the editors a lot because I'm doing a lot more support work for our hosting and that these days. Not as much as I'd like to be. So I quite often, particularly when it comes to flex with, depending on which is your, whether you're on a row or a column, whether you're using, align content or align items or, place content, it gets bloody confusing.
Mm.
I still get confused with all that.
I
Sometimes it's
just
really
I
good.
just try I just try different properties until I hit the right one.
I do the same. But this is just another way. If you can't remember, just do that. Have a look at what it
Yeah.
is. Try and remember that for next time.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
you
mean-
want those in the list non-utility class, though, Alan.
Sorry? Oh, sorry. Jumping, you're right. Mate, lucky you're on the call. We're on the wrong one. Well picked up, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Looking out for me. Thanks, man. So that's the other good thing with here. I find this easier than trying to go through and pick your class. So I find this drop down just much easier. Maxine?
Hell
is
yeah!
this-
It's so funny. Like personally, I haven't started using this CSS box that Maxime provides here. But
Yeah.
now that I see the drop down, I'm like, that's pretty neat.
So the one criticism there, Maxine, is it needs to be wider because sometimes if your classes are a bit long, they chop off. So if that can be a little bit wider, that would be fantastic.
Right.
Yeah. So basically there. Now let's start actually creating a loop. So we'll go into here and we're going to turn that into a loop and we're going to grab the repeater, ACF repeater. And there's our loop there. Now what we need to do is go back to our section and we need to add some clip on it. So we don't get this overflow here. Now,
Feedback here.
sorry?
Some feedback here from Michael.
Okay.
Are you seeing it on the screen? Or, well, he just commented. Says, this looks handy. I have Etch and AT. I have built in Oxygen, Bricks, and soon Etch. Being able to use older tools on existing sites like newer ones, I'm all for it.
Okay. Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah. He basically said that whatever, like a lot of what you're doing is already native in Etch, but AT is just a good tool to bring some of this functionality to Bricks, which is still more limited, but at least, it gives us a lot of more freedom and
Yeah.
way to do things more flexibly.
And my only
I'm
real
not gonna lie, I
criticism,
wouldn't want to work without AT in Bricks. It's
yeah,
not fun.
my only real criticism, if you gave too many options for how to do things, it ends up as a bit of a mess with people putting stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
You need to decide what works for you, decide on a workflow, and keep doing the same thing. Otherwise, it gets very confusing. Okay, so the other thing we needed to do is on our devices here, we need to align those as well, because on the pop site here, they're all center aligned. So we need to align those. So I think this is the justify content. I think it's justify content. Okay. Now the other thing we got to do is start setting our sizes, and this is where, because we're going to set the center one at a different width, my go-to here is to use a variable for that. So my go-to would be coming into here, setting our device, and I would set my actually we'll see our flex grow as well. Grow to 0 because these don't shrink when that screen size goes down. These don't shrink at all. So we've got to make sure ours don't shrink. And we've got to set our width, or let's use, I know Kevin loves his new logical properties, so we'll use, I don't want to, inline size. Is that correct? Inline size? It didn't come up in the.
Yeah, it's correct.
Yeah, okay. Okay, what I would normally do here is make that a variable. With the fallback to the default. And then what we can do is do the nth child 3 and just change the variable to set the size of that nth child. Okay, so let's start putting in stuff in here. So we're going to put in a shadow in there. Our screenshot is going to be dynamic. And that is the screenshots. By the way, I'll show you in the next one the mask here with the dynamic data from here. This layout here is AT with the searchable. So AT just makes us an awful lot easier to find stuff when you've got a lot of dynamic data there. So that's all on AT. Okay, so we've got our screen size there. What on earth is Bricks doing to me here? That's weird. The rendering's out of whack. I just say that.
Ultimately, isn't it? Aren't you going to need to use? I'm a little lost at this point, but aren't you going to need to use absolute positioning to slap these things on top of each other?
Yeah. I was just wondering why this is a loop. I was wondering why the first one looks so different to the others.
Right.
And that's one of the things I wish Bricks would focus more on. The new features is the rendering issues.
Yeah. God.
Some of the saving issues. Sometimes things not updating. See, now it looks correct after a reset. Okay.
Indeed.
So what I would typically do here is on my device, I would set that to be a position relative. And look, guys, if you're new to Bricks, you're probably going to do all this from the UI. I just prefer to work in here. It's just so much easier, so much quicker. And we're going to set our isolation to isolate. And then on our shadow, we're going to set that to be a position absolute. And Z index -2. Screenshots. And Z index of -1. Are we still online? I just heard a weird sound there.
Yeah, it looks
You're still there? Yep. So this is something else that changed when I was able to move this CSS to here, where I'm putting my CSS changed. Prior to doing that, because I was using this little box over here or on the side there, what I would typically do is put everything on the BEM block level and just use roots and then just go to go shadow, etc. I would do it all there. But what I'm finding is having this in this location here, it's actually so much quicker and easier to actually just click on these and there's your style for it.
Indeed.
It's just something I've come to since I moved that to this location. Okay, so that's lining up a little bit there. Now, what we need to do is actually start getting this to actually work properly now. So on our shadow, if we look at the pop site on the shadow,
but Alan, there? Actually, at this point, I've over the past 5 minutes or so, 7 minutes, I've been wondering where's a good point to take a break and switch. And this might be a good point because we're just getting to them looking a little bit like they're supposed to look. So I think if we take a break here, just a little breather, get back together as a group, talk about what we've seen so far, and then switch to Kevin. This might be a good moment to do that.
Okay.
I'm just going to bring everybody back. Thoughts, ideas. What are you guys thinking?
Brendan's awake, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Well done. Not something I
So
expected.
just to be clear, you were having,
stop
you're not
sharing?
you're putting all your CSS not at the root component level. You're putting them on the child element levels.
So I'm just trying to bring back here we go, live stream there. Sorry, the CSS. So basically, it's just targeting a different way. So if I put it on the BIM root element or the block element, we're just using the root placeholder, 2 underscores, and then the element part of the name, right? We're doing exactly the same thing if we actually click on the element and put the CSS there. So it's just a different way of targeting it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just find it easier. It's just, different people find it different. Like previously, I was doing everything in the one place and just using root underscore, and then the element name. Once I started using it with that editor down the bottom, I just found it easier to just click on them and just edit there.
Mm-hmm.
Just a personal preference.
A bit later, I'd like to look into, or perhaps just real quick, what are your experiences with the zoom out feature that Advanced Themer has? I was using it or I tried using it, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago or something, and it felt kind of buggy. But I'm not really sure if I'm misusing it or anything. Like, do you have that? Are you using that in your builds, or is it just one of the features that you even haven't explored yet?
No, I haven't. I don't tend to build big, long, complex pages, so it haven't really felt a need to. So yeah, no, it hasn't been something I've experimented with.
Okay. All right. Apart from that, do we have questions, thoughts, comments?
I got one. Alan, I have Advanced Themer, but I haven't messed with it in a while, and I haven't had the chance to look at the framework yet. So it seems pretty interesting. When you were doing all that stuff, though, you said that you mentioned that you got the styling panel to sit kind of at the bottom there, so you can write your CSS and see all that. Is that there's the styling inputs in bricks, and then there's like a custom CSS spot where you can do like more advanced things, obviously, that the inputs don't get you. Is the one that you were in, though, is that from AT? So it's like another place to style, like another box to style in?
From what Maxime did, it's a replacement of the bricks styling CSS.
Gotcha.
And it just adds additional features for autocompletes, formatting, a whole bunch of stuff. So the CSS you put in there goes into the same place as the brick styling panel. So if you switched off AT, the style will still be there. It's in no way linked through to the UI inputs.
Right.
Gotcha.
And if I remember correctly, is that what you said earlier, that if you do put it in one place, it won't automatically show up in the other one? Like if you do put if you do put a bunch of CSS in the CSS in Bricks' own CSS input, then it's not going to show up in Maxime's, and
It
vice
does.
versa, right?
No, they do. So basically,
You do.
Maxime just basically hides theirs, puts theirs on top of it, and then synchronizes the two together. So it's the same CSS. It's just a easier way to edit the same CSS.
Okay, then yeah, never mind. Cool. Good to know. All right. Kevin, you want to show us some magic?
Sure.
Mr. Enthusiasm.
This is live stream number 4. It's since long. All right, let me find a share screen button here. Share screen. Yeah. Let's see, which one do we want here? What does it say?
It
doesn't support sharing system sound. Okay, well, we don't need the system
okay.
sound. Okay, you guys can see the screen. Let me
We're seeing Brendan.
Pro mouse on. Yeah. So was that a yes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, what I mainly wanted to explore was just the concept of maybe making this like a section intro component. Because if you scroll down, like it's, this is a very similar section intro, very similar section intro here. And again, here, it seems like it's used very, very consistently on this site, which means probably be a good idea to make that a component. And then this would be the next point of interest. We'll do this first probably, I guess. And making the device itself the component. And being able to use that flexibly kind of anywhere you need it, whether it's in this grid with this particular alignment and these particular, little micro animations, or if you just wanted to use this, like right there, there's another use of that one single component.
Right.
And of course, a lot of things will end up being components on a site. These cards will end up being components and such, but we'll stick with this section right here. So I guess what I'll do is I'll just go into Etch and we'll start putting some things together, and then we can kind of talk about the Etch workflow and features. Let me move this EV Mux thing off the screen so it's not in the way. Okay, I think we're good. And then, if you guys have any questions as I go, I'm also just going to try to be conscious of not going too fast. I'll kind of just plod along and just try to explain things as I go. So I'm going to add a section element here. We'll call this the section intro, even though I'm not really going to put anything in it yet, except heading. We'll just say section intro. I'll make sure to change that real quick to an H1. And then we're going to put in a container, and this is going to be my devices. And I was thinking about this. I actually, in terms of like accessibility side of things, I've been thinking about this more lately, where I think a lot of times it would just be an image with an alt, 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 an image with an alt. And actually, these are not really individually valuable to people who visit the site. It's really like a display. It's a single display of like, hey, here's our projects that we've worked on. And so it should kind of be treated, in my estimation, as like one thing. So we actually, like, when we make the component, we'll probably give it the ability to have an alt so that when it gets used, as a single thing down here, it could have one. But like this display itself, I think should actually get like role equals image and just treat it as one singular image for like accessibility purposes. So we'll explore how to do that and put an ARIA label on there so that it announces properly and so on and so forth. And I think that's one of the benefits of Etch is that one, you have access to the code, but two, with the quick attributes bar, you can actually add classes or ARIA labels or role equals image or whatever you want to do without going into a bunch of panels, without trying to find, where to put stuff. And it's just kind of, I think as you watch, you're going to see less panel interaction. You're going to see less like inception of an interface. It's just kind of everything is where you need it to be kind of all at once, which once you've kind of worked that way, it's you realize like how valuable that actually is. Okay, so I will put in a flex div here. This is going to be our actual device. And then I'm going to put in an image and an image. And we're going to choose, I think I got them loaded up here. So I'm going to do the shadow probably as a pseudo element. I'm not actually going to throw the actual image in there. The device frame will be an actual image, and then the screenshot will be an image or the screen. Let's call this the screen. And then this will be the device. Let's see. We'll call this the frame of the device. So we have the screen, we have the frame. The way they did it, the way that I guess it's most efficient to do it is the frame actually lives on top of the screen. And then when we round the corners of the screen, it's going to look like the screen is in the frame, essentially. It's kind of like it's just an optical illusion, essentially. Okay, so we have a device, we have a screen and a frame. I'm just going to go ahead and create BEM classes on those. We could create this as a list. I don't know. Like I said, it's just one kind of image object is like how it should be treated. So I'm just going to put the class of devices on here, and we're going to treat this as a list. Okay. What I'm going to do is duplicate that a couple times, and then in devices, I'm just going to display this as flex direction of row, and we're going to take a look. Okay, so we have our 3 devices. It just kind of helps to throw some others in there. And what I do tell people is like, don't start out with something as a component. Start out with just build everything statically, get everything working statically, and then it's much easier to then convert it to a component, because you don't want to be trying to engineer a component while you're also trying to make all the other stuff work at the exact same time. So just get it working statically, make it look like it's supposed to. Then it's usually very easy to just convert the thing into a component.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because I've been doing it that way, and I've been wondering, like, is that the right way? What's the pros and cons? And
if something goes wrong in the normal staticky stuff, but you're also trying to build a component at the same time, like it just introduces a lot of complexity that doesn't really need to exist at this stage of the game, right? Okay, so I'm going to do a display of grid. I'm going to place items in the center. I am going to, let's position this. I want the frame to kind of be, oh, we didn't even put in the frame yet. Okay, let's put in the frame. And then let's delete that, and duplicate. So we actually have 3 of what we actually need. Okay. So I think the screen is actually going to handle the actual sizing of whatever box it's in. We'll make sure that it's set to like be, 100% of whatever container it's in. And then the screen is actually what I want to position absolute. And we'll go to device real quick, and we'll just make sure we also position this relative, so it captures anything like this screen. So I'm going to go to screen, and we'll go position of absolute. Okay, perfect. We'll go Z index of -1, and essentially we're already like, you can see how it's kind of getting into the device. I'll probably do a width of 90%, something like that. And now you see it's basically centered. The only problem we have here is the little edges coming out the top. And like I said, that's just kind of solved by like some random border radius. Like we can even put like 1.5 em on there. Something where, because this device is obviously curved, we just want to curve the screen behind there. And it's pretty much going to do its job. Okay, so let's go. So we need 5 devices. And what is good about display flex here is that I'm not telling it to wrap. So it's essentially just going to keep cramming as many devices as we want into this one box. It's not going to try to go into a different line. We don't have to define a specific number of columns like we would have to in a grid. And then what I want to do is, you got to think kind of in 2 different contexts here. One is like at the device context, which is like, what instructions do I want to bake into my device? And then what instructions actually just need to come from this layout? Because obviously there's a lot happening here with device sizes and their position in this layout. And then of course how they're animated, but none of those things actually apply to how this device would render anywhere else, right? So there's a second context, which is this layout that this device happens to live in at the time. And then there's the context of just the device itself. And we want to it's like a separation of concerns. We don't want to bake anything related to this layout into the device itself. So you can see I have like a device class, the display grid, place item, center, position, relative. That's handling the positioning of the screen. And then anything that needs to be with the device layout itself is going to be handled from the devices group. And this is where I was going to mention, like, we can do the role equals image here. We can do an ARIA label, which would be like our latest projects. when we say our 5 latest app development projects or something, okay? And I just hit add, and it's going to add those into the HTML for me. Whereas like in most other interfaces, you're going to have to find their data attributes panel. You're going to, it's panel number 17, and you got to open it up. And after you've opened 3 others, and then put those in kind of manually, click a button to add one, and then type the things out, type the name, type the value, to add another one. Like this just kind of gives you access to everything at all times, which is very nice. Like you notice I'm not really going anywhere. I'm always just right here, just doing the work. Okay, so devices here, what I'm going to do is come down and I'm going to select the nth child of 3. And then I always just say, hey, do a quick border check on what you're actually doing there. And I think with Flex, like Flex actually is quite flexible, right? These are always just going to try to be 100% wide. And so however many are there is what's going to end up determining their eventual size. But you could just say inline size of 115% perhaps, right? And this is on the 3rd one. So the 3rd one just automatically gets bigger. They appear to be aligning themselves to the center, but I'll just put that on there explicitly. And then I think what we could also do is probably choose the nth child of 2 in, which should do like 2nd and 2 and 4. Let's do border 5 pixel solid red. Okay, so that gives you 2 and 4. Actually, what I want, I do want 2 and 4 probably later. I want 1 right now, and we will put a comma in here. And I want 5. And if we align self to end, that should put those at the bottom. Okay. And if we look here, that's essentially what's happening, right? The bottom alignment, at least it's very close, of all of these devices going across the bottom. These 2 are the only ones that are kind of like, these are actually centered, right? So that's what align item center on the entire collection kind of handles the alignment of this item, and this item. And then these 2 are just aligned to the bottom of the container. Okay, so that's pretty decent right there. I think what we can probably add on here, we'll try to add on this shadow. I looked at the shadow they did. They made a custom shadow and then didn't make it correctly, I guess, and they have to do some weird positioning on the shadow. So we'll just try to bake this in. So device, screen, frame. We'll just put it on the entire device. Let's go with a before pseudo element. Let's go content, and let's go position absolute, and let's go an inset of 0, and let's go a background of URL, and let's go background size. Probably going to need to cover this, and then let's go background repeat of no repeat. Okay, and then I'll just go to media here. I'll grab the little shadow file. I don't know why, when we have our own media gallery in Etch, we're going to fix this. I don't know why they refuse to give you relative paths in WordPress, but it is best practice to use relative paths. Let's do z index of -1 to put it in the back there. And then I think what they did, I made notes on it because it's really dumb. You're gonna see they put a width of, and it's like appears to be the only way to get these shadows to work. Height of 116.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Something like this. And so now you can see the shadows actually work. So these are clearly magic numbers, right? And it's like, so you're like, where do these numbers come from? Like I said, apparently they made a custom shadow and they needed these numbers because either the shadow is made, I don't know. I didn't take time to analyze it, but you don't usually want to see this type of thing when you're doing development. And you would go back to the designer and be like, hey, that shadow's not really working out the way that you designed it. So can you get me one that actually works? They didn't do that here. They just used this crazy positioning to do it. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look on the front end. We have our little device grid here. Alan, you didn't get on that plane, did you? You still here? Okay.
Oh, you can actually hear that. Okay.
I can hear it.
No. Wow. Yeah. Okay. The voice filter's not doing a good job.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Okay, so far looking pretty good. We can do the micro animation next. We can componentize it next. We can actually let's see what's going on. Okay, so the other thing about Etch that, again, once you use it, you just kind of wonder, like, why wasn't it always done this way? But just a fluidly responsive canvas. We're not we're out of the era of breakpoints now. We don't worry about breakpoints. We don't have cute little icons for breakpoints. We have dynamic breakpoints. We have dynamic container queries. We have everything that you need to make the site fully responsive, but more intelligently than the here's 5 predetermined devices. Even though we know there's 2,200 different device combinations out in the wild, here's 5 different presets for you. Good luck. That's kind of not the workflow that we use anymore.
That's another thing that thankfully Advanced Themer introduces to Bricks as well. It has a slider at the top where you can just dynamically change the screen size.
Yeah. So for this, we also have dynamic element measuring, and then when you insert media queries or container queries, it's either going to be based on the dynamic size that you're currently previewing at the time, which is nice. And then because there's no breakpoints, there's no breakpoint selectors, all of your CSS always stays intact. You're not dividing your CSS up between different breakpoints or container queries. So it all lives in the same place at all times, which is also very, very, very handy. This is supposed to be probably like 100% width on this devices list, because if we go, or if we like hide the interface, right, and we get wider, we want that to start growing, right? So I'm going to do max inline size of 100% as well. And then we'll go take a look at how this is shaping up on the front end. Okay, so that's nice. And then because we're using Flex and we didn't give any devices a width, right? They're all relative. They're either 100% or the middle one is 115%. They're going to grow accordingly to like wherever we place them. And then we want them to not shrink, right? We want them to not shrink. We want them to actually overflow. So what I would probably go with is like a min inline size, and I would do something like 1440, right? So we know that, hey, this has to be 1440, which now will cause it to overflow. And we can go into the section here, which will say like pop hero or something. And we'll say overflow of clip. And then now, and by the way, maybe we'll comment this out real quick and just see. So whenever you do that, you're going to end up with this problem, right? Which you can see in the canvas, like that's horizontal scroll. And then we add that overflow clip. I can't do that anymore. There's no more overflow. And this is going to shrink down. And this is what I kind of mean when I talk about like seeing, even though I'm previewing, and again, this should not be discounted. This is phenomenal. And when you're living in an interface that doesn't do this, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare that you would have like mobile CSS. Like you wouldn't be seeing this anymore. Right? You wouldn't be seeing the thing that's actually causing this current behavior. You would be seeing either a blank CSS box because you didn't write any CSS at that breakpoint, or that's what you would be seeing, or whatever you did write at that breakpoint, but you wouldn't be seeing what you wrote earlier at a different breakpoint. And then it's very difficult to keep track of the full context of all the behaviors that you're trying to manage. But with this, I never lose the CSS that I already wrote, and I'm selecting this thing, and I'm going to do something at this breakpoint that doesn't necessarily even apply to this breakpoint. It actually does apply to this breakpoint, but it doesn't require a breakpoint instruction, if that makes sense, right? If I change this min inline size of the entire device's container, it is actually going to allow me to shrink these devices, but control how much they shrink as we approach the final destination, right? And here I would say, like, I can still see the other edges of the device, And I actually want to see a little bit more of them just for that added context of like, hey, there are other things, and it's still kind of a dynamic looking layout, and it kind of gives more context to these shadows that are randomly coming in here. And so this min inline size, like all the behavior out here is exactly how I want it. And this is now just controlling how much is left of these devices when we finally get down to our very last device size. And responsiveness in era 4 now, what I've been trying to teach and what I've been trying to explain and the way we've developed the interface is that when you handle responsiveness correctly, it should look good across this entire range. It's not about going to this preset and checking it and this preset and checking it and because you're not accounting for the other 2200 minus 6 devices that are out there. This is letting you know this looks good everywhere. I'm seeing it literally everywhere in real time, right? So again, that can't be discounted. So we took care of the responsiveness. I'll let either you guys or I'll let the chat decide. I mean, do we want to componentize this next? Do we want to try to do the micro animation? I would probably always do that last, but I'll let you guys decide. Or we could do the intro component.
Well, there's one question that came up about overflow clip. People were discussing why not just overflow hidden? What's the difference?
Overflow clip is a little bit more flexible. You can do overflow hidden. I don't know if overflow hidden has the side effect. I don't know if this is true with overflow clip as well. There's a lot of little caveats to look into, and I would encourage people to look it up. To me, overflow clip tends to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more safer in certain situations. But I'll give you an example. And again, I haven't tested this with overflow clip, so it could be true with overflow clip as well. But if you put overflow hidden on things, it disables sticky elements. And one of the very common thing is like, people will come in and be like, my header stopped being sticky because they had an overflow problem on the site and they couldn't find the overflow problem. So what they did, or what somebody told them to do or whatever, is they went to the body element and they put overflow hidden on the body, which is just like, hey, anything that's overflowing in here, let's just cut that out. And then it's all their sticky elements stop working and they can't figure out why that happened. And so it's, you got to be careful with it. The overflow clip is a newer value for overflow. Yeah, it tends to be a little bit more flexible in my opinion.
It's good to know. Also, somebody asked right at the beginning, hang on a second, let me bring it up. So Maxime said something about you playing chess, and then somebody said, when did you play chess? Is there a story here?
I mean, it's
between you and Maxime.
It's not an exciting story. Like I said on a live stream that I got into chess a few weeks ago. It's like 3 weeks now. And then people asked for my chess.com handle to play me in chess, and Maxime's a 1,000 ELO player and came in and whooped me up a little bit. And yeah, so that's it. But check back with me, Maxime, in a few months. We'll run it back.
Are you better at chess or golf, Kevin?
Wow. That's a tough one. I would say chess. I just passed 500 ELO, so I'm halfway to Maxime.
There you go.
I don't think that's too bad for a few weeks.
All right.
Yeah. So what do you guys? You want to do you want to turn this into a component? You want to do a section intro component?
I saw two votes for component in the comments and one for animation.
Okay. Okay, we could do the device component if we wanted to. So I'm just going to go to device right here, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say create component. And we are now creating, oh dear, there's a plane here. Woo!
Let me mute that.
All right. So when you're creating a component, and just like you could actually just save here and exit, and now I can just delete these now. Okay, so we have these. Look how that little grid just kind of builds itself as you throw those devices in there. So component is done, right? Like that's literally all you need to do, unless you need it to have more flexibility or the ability. Like currently, we would just have copies of all of them, right? we have no ability, for example, to change the screen out. So that would be the first obvious thing, is like, how do I get it so that I can change the screen? So I'll go back into editing components. I'm going to add a media prop, and I'm just going to call this screen. And what we can do is, depending on how, I think this is, remember the screen is not the top layer, so I probably can't do the like auto targeting, but what I can do is just copy the key right here, and I can go to the screen, and then I can take away the value that it had, and I can put in props.screen, and I can choose a default over here. So anything I choose in the prop itself is essentially going to be like the default value of the prop. But I am using dynamic data in the source. And I could also, while I'm here, we could just say screen alt text or something, screen alt text, and I'll just copy that, and we'll leave that blank by default. But I'll throw that props.screen.alt text in the alt box. And we also have previews, right? So you can toggle previews on and off for your props. I'm just going to go ahead and hit save, and we will exit. And now when I'm using the device, you're going to see that there is a screen selector here where I can come in and say, okay, I want that screen. And then I could put alt text in if I wanted to. In this case, because I put a roll of image on the devices and I put an alt on the devices, we're treating it as one singular object. I would leave all of these alts blank. So that we're going to let the roll image and the alt on the roll image handle all of that for us. But now, yeah, you can literally just go through and say, okay, this one's supposed to be there, and this one is, oops, I chose the same one twice. We'll choose this one. Okay, we'll go in and we'll choose this one. Okay, and we'll go in and choose this one. Okay. Go in and choose, and which one is last? Which one is last? This little purple one? Okay, save. Okay, so, I mean, that's like, for that component, that's it. Now, I can't think of anything else you would really need in terms of a component prop for this. Now, if we were gonna pull these in through a loop, that would make it a little bit more complicated. We would have the loop, we would have an object prop, we would pass in the data from the loop. I don't know that these really require a loop. What I would like to explore is in this section intro component, because if you look at this is going to need some work, right? Because there are things like maybe this call to action that you're not always going to want to have. They have it there, but here, no call to action. They have this label up here, which appears a lot, but one of them has a little badge in it, okay? So there's a little conditional logic that we're gonna need here. We're gonna need to determine whether it's an H1 or an H2, because they can't just always be H1s. There has to be a little bit of logic somehow in there. And then sometimes it's gonna have this little disclaimer, and sometimes it's not going to have a disclaimer. So when you're building a section intro component like this, you're going to have some props that are related to loading things conditionally, like whether those things should exist or not exist in this particular instance of the component. And I think that is a good thing for people to see. If you want to do that next.
Let's go back to Alan for a little bit and see this section through to completion in breaks, because I want to see how we get to the same result in breaks.
Yep.
And I'm all for the component next. Absolutely.
Cool.
That's cruel, man. I've been learning stuff here. That's how do you follow that?
Yeah, I've got whiplash. I'm gonna need to rewatch this, but that's
that's awesome.
That's
So
Kevin,
I kind of took the task more literally as reproduce what you see, where you've taken the how do I improve on this?
Maddie, I think you're showing the
exactly. Can you share the screen?
Screen. There you go.
What are we doing? Sorry. Full screen. I don't know how I follow that. I think. Sorry.
Just a second. I'm not seeing your screen yet.
Okay.
It's already shared? I know last time
Alan,
it took a
don't
moment
feel
to show up.
Don't feel too bad. Kevin's had practice before too. He's built that layout.
Yeah. When I'm clicking on share the entire screen, the share button's just grayed out.
Oh shit.
I can't share.
What?
Try cancel. No, my share button's just grayed out. I can't do anything.
I see the chat's friendly.
Try it again.
Just answer Anja's question real quick. It can't. That particular shadow can't be done with CSS. That's why they made like a very custom shadow. So it has to be it has to be an image.
But
And there was another question, but it's sorry. Is it working? There was another question.
No, it's just coming up grey.
Okay. I mean, if you want to reboot or jump out and back in, go nuts.
Yeah. To answer Dennis's question, yes. Yeah, you can easily use components and loops.
Right. Yeah.
So, just backtracking on that though. So, I like some of your ideas there, Kevin, of how you're controlling sizing rather than controlling it the individual item, controlling it as a group. So by setting your max inline width and min inline width. And I completely forgot about that method of using a single cell grid for your alignment instead of using everything positioned absolutely and then transitioning by negative 50%. So I completely forgot about that method, which that's great. It's so much easier.
Yeah. Display grid is place item center. It's very handy.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to, because I'm not sure why this isn't allowing me to share, do you want to carry on with that, creating that component for now?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. And then see, Alan, if you can fix it somehow.
Sure.
Alan, do you want to
unfortunately
refresh your browser?
I'll log out and back in.
Refresh your browser or something, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just log out.
Also, here is an interesting question. What if we convert that shadow to SVG code?
I mean, you could. I don't know what value you would get out of doing that. I don't know.
Smaller size, perhaps? I mean, it's already a WebP.
You could argue that it might be. I mean, sometimes SVGs are bigger, actually. Well, one thing is they're using a 1395 by 2048 pixel shadow, which these devices are never going to be that big. So you could limit the size just by, limiting what they've done here in the actual image size. But, okay. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I'm a fan of SVGs when you would want to maybe shift colors of something or because it would give you a little bit more flexibility probably in that regard. But I don't know that would actually help you in this shadow situation.
Also, Dennis says that gradients are still a pain in the ass with SVGs.
Yeah. And also you could try AVIF as a file format. Like WebP does not always win. I've been trying to get people to understand that as well. Like sometimes a lot of times WebP does win, especially if there's transparency involved. But AVIF often beats WebP. And sometimes if there's no transparency involved, JPEG still wins sometimes. I've seen WebP files get bigger than JPEGs. So you really have to take it on a case-by-case basis. I don't think there's one answer to which format you should be using.
But we can... So caniuse.com, I just checked. So WebP, we're good, right? Like we're golden with WebP.
Oh, yeah. WebP is for a long time now. Okay. Yeah, you don't need to do any shenanigans anymore.
Last time I checked it, there was still shenanigans.
Yeah. Okay. So let's build this. So really, we just want to see like what are all the elements that we need, and let's just throw them into the container. So, and I noticed somebody did mention about typing all of the CSS. We have
give it your screen.
Oh yeah, I haven't shared. Hey, good call. Entire screen 1, go. Okay, we good?
Yep.
Okay. We do have, I did share on yesterday's Etch Live that we do every single month. I did show preview, a sneak peek of what we're calling a quick actions bar in the code editor. So if you see this in advanced theme or in a few weeks, you know where it's just joking. Okay. This is one of like 4 different features that will replace style panels. If you are new to my content, I've done a couple live streams now detailing the long list of problems with style panels in page builders. And we are engineering and innovating replacements for those to where, no, you don't have to type everything. If you don't know the exact property names, you can still get the builder to type for you, to write for you. And it's a set of features that are coming that, again, you haven't seen before in any other interface. So instead of copying what's been done since 2009, like every other page builder, we're actually trying to innovate this process.
So the goal in Etch is to eventually get rid of the panels altogether, right? And replacing them with this new system that we're seeing here.
Yeah, there should be no style panels because they cause a tremendous amount of problems. So they were designed to solve really 2 specific problems. And those 2 specific problems can be solved with way better solutions than a style panel.
Also, just to quickly go on a tangent before I forget again. So keyboard shortcuts in Etch, what's the status there? Like, for instance, if I wanted to, like I said earlier, if in Bricks I want to put in a section, I could just press S with Advanced Steamer. Is that coming?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We're creating an entire keyboard shortcut architecture, if you will. We did proof of concept, which is, we pre-programmed a few fixed keyboard shortcuts like Command S saves, for example, and you can do Command Delete and such. Yeah. But obviously, that's not super valuable to users until they can customize those keyboard shortcuts. And they have a panel where they can, maybe see all available keyboard shortcuts.
Right.
So that all is a more robust architecture. And we refer to those kind of things as like icing on the cake, right? So we're still doing a lot of baking the cake, which means like the key ingredients need to be there before you ice the thing. And that's what we've been trying to communicate. That's why we've gotten as far as we have, right? That's why we can do components with all of these advanced props and conditional logic, and now we have inline conditions. We have all the things that developers really care about, and then we come back and we put some icing on the cake in terms of, okay, keyboard shortcuts, okay, button up the UI a little bit more here and there, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's solely quality of life, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's go ahead and, and I'll just make sure, let's not close that one or we'll be gone. So does EVMux have an app, by the way? Like, or do you have to do it in the browser?
Beats the hell out of me. I don't know.
Okay.
We're lucky we can even stream with this thing, I feel like. Sometimes.
I always feel like it's so unsafe. Like if I accidentally close that tab, we're done. We're done here. So, okay, so I got the heading in there. We're going to need a paragraph for the lead. We're going to need, we discussed not doing the form and just doing a button. So we're going to need a link. So we need text, we need a link, we need another text element, and we need another text element. So text, link, text, 4 different elements. So I'm going to go, there are EVMux things in my way again. Okay, so down here, we're going to go text, link, text. And then, and that link does add anchors inside of text unless you hit the keyboard shortcuts. If you notice this, like if you do want to add a link inside of a heading, which is very common, you can just click the link. But if I want to add it next to the heading, I can't. So here's your keyboard shortcut again. You can hold Command and click link, and it will add it as a sibling to that item. Sometimes when the actual heading is going to be a link, that link does need to live inside the heading. If it's just going to be a button that sits out by itself, then obviously it needs to be a sibling to the heading. I'm going to do button primary to style this as button primary, and then we can look at ACSS and how we can control the button styling in just a minute. I think this is going to go second. This is going to be the lead. You always want the heading to come first, even though visually there is some sort of badge. I guess we'll call that badge. Okay, and then this is going to be the disclaimer. Okay, so badge, I'm not so sure that this, really deserves to be like elevated to paragraph status. So I'm just going to turn that into a span. We'll say my badge here. We'll say, what was it, like no credit card required. We're also going to need an icon inside of that if we zoom in. So, and then of course, when we're making this a component, that's probably going to have to be a prop as well, so that somebody can choose to have the icon or not have the icon, and what icon it actually is being loaded there. So now the question is, can I get perhaps like an SVG inside of that paragraph? So I can add the SVG element, and I can just copy that, and I can go in here and maybe just paste that in. And I don't know that you can do that in many other tools. I don't know if you can do that in Bricks. We could ask Alan. I don't know if you could put SVGs inside of paragraphs. But because I have access to the code, I can pretty much do whatever I want. I'm not limited by the interface. I'm calling this section intro. We're just going to check everything. I have a heading. I have a lead. I'm going to call this CTA. We have a badge. We have a disclaimer. We need the disclaimer icon. Okay, we will talk about this. A lot of people get confused here, and I'm actually going to. I'm gonna X this out. We're gonna go in no credit card required. I'm gonna put that in a span itself so that it could support having a class of its own, perhaps. So when I auto BIM this, it will now get a class. We'll just call it disclaimer label. And here is a common, actually somebody asked me about this the other day on X. When you're doing BIM, how do you handle this where it's like, okay, now we're getting kind of nested. And the tip that I always give, it's very simple. Like the paragraph is called disclaimer. That's the first thing that's going to get BIM. These two things belong to disclaimer. So literally just repeat the name of the thing. So this is disclaimer. This is an icon in the disclaimer, so it's called a disclaimer icon. This is called a disclaimer label, and it will all BIM out perfectly fine. And then we can see that, and you never obviously do like double elements or anything like that, so no shenanigans. We're gonna right click, create BIM classes. Now I go down here and we're gonna see section intro disclaimer icon, section intro disclaimer label, section intro disclaimer. There's no, it's that if you just follow that tip of like, just repeat the name of the thing when you start nesting, it'll all work out just fine. All right, are we following up to this point? I also hear myself in somebody's audio again. I don't know who. It may be Alan's.
Alan just came back.
Okay. I'm going to do order -1 on this badge. That's going to send that to the top. This is going to be an H1. Let's go ahead and at least make a stunning personal site. Make a stunning personal site. Okay, and I'm going to go to Automatic CSS. Well, actually, what we could do here, I don't know. Let's see how big this is. Computed is 110. Okay, so I'm going to go to typography. I'm going to go to my H1 size, and I'm going to come down here. I'm going to put in 110. I'm just going to let the 32 stay the 32. And we'll at least get our H1 to be the way that it's supposed to be. Line height maybe of 1 to tighten that up just a little bit. Okay. And then in this heading, or actually in this entire section intro, we are going to align items to the center. We'll text align everything to the center, and that should start to get that good. I want some lorem ipsum in here, so I'm going to do lorem 20 tab, get that lorem in there for us. In this disclaimer, we're going to display this as flex. We're going to align items to the center. We're going to grab, actually I can gap while I'm here, maybe like a 0.5 em. I'm going to grab the SVG. We're going to inline size of 1 em. That's going to make that icon the same. We can also strip color attributes here in our icon, which means I will now be able to control this with just the color property of CSS. What that does is strip any hard-coded colors out of SVGs, which is very common. What we can do here is we could color text dark muted, which will make it kind of that, like, I think it's, this I would say is probably not accessible if I had to guess. So we're going to go slightly darker than that. But that's what we would call like a muted text color, right? All right, let's style up this badge, see what it's supposed to look like. Animated themes, we can put that in there. Animated themes, all right. And I'm gonna go with line height of 1, font size of text S, so we want small text. We want padding of 0.5 em. We want border radius of radius, which I don't even know if that's set properly. We can handle that in just a minute. We want border of border. Okay, these are all just from Automatic CSS. We want background of primary ultra light. Okay, and I don't know, color of, what is it? What is it? Primary? No, it's still black. Still black. Okay. So we don't have to do anything there with the color. Is it, doesn't look like really anything else is going on in there. It does look like it might be XS text though, instead of what we had. And then maybe a little more padding on the sides. I'm gonna go to radius and just see what we're at here because it's looking more pill shaped. So I'm gonna go to borders and dividers, borders. We essentially have a global radius system because radiuses on websites tend to be very, very, very consistent. There's really only one scenario where there's a different radius that's used from everywhere else, and that's when you're creating a concentric radius, which is a radius inside of a radius. And that uses a math formula, but it still needs to be based on your website's global radius, right? So I'm gonna reset this back to 5 pixels, and that's gonna take care of my radius everywhere. The only other time, oopsie, I clicked the wrong tab. The only other time you might have a different radius is on buttons. So you can see here that that is more of a squared radius, and they've gone with a pill shape for buttons. And that's why in Automatic CSS, your buttons, like buttons are kind of a little mini framework in themselves. But you can set a different radius on buttons that you then, it's different from everywhere else. So 50 VW is a good way to create a pill shape. And you can see I have border radius on my buttons for 50 VW. And if I didn't want that, I could easily get rid of it and it would go back to the normal radius, but we wanted to set something different for this website. I didn't actually change it, so we don't have to save. Okay, so one little thing about this new, and then we may get others. What I would do is ask the designer. I would ask the client that I'm working with, is this going to be a preset, predetermined? It could be new, or it could be on sale, or it could be discounted, or it could, or do you want it to be infinitely flexible, where the person can literally write whatever they want but then you are going to get into a color code situation. How do you color code them if they can write anything that they want? Maybe you then have a control for determining the color. This is a discussion that needs to happen, right? And you need to figure out, because if I'm going to build this component, it needs to be built to the way that they're expecting it to behave. All of those things are options, but we have to have a discussion about it because we got to pick a path and we got to go down that path. But I'll give you an example here of how I would probably handle that. So on the badge, we are going to put a data attribute. We'll do data badge label. How about data badge label new? Okay, data badge label new. Let's add that. Okay, you can see it right down here in the HTML. It gets added. Very nice, again, that I can just add that. I don't have to go, find a panel for it or anything like that. Now what that should allow us to do is we can add a before pseudo element. If I put in content new, you'll see exactly what's going to happen. And I'll just put in that right here. And then we will say, obviously, maybe a little gap up here, 0.5 em, okay. And I probably did not display this as flex yet. So display flex, there you go. And we'll just style this statically. What have I always said? Just make it work statically, then make it dynamic, or make it a component, or whatever you're gonna do next. So content is new. That's gonna need a line height of 1, though it probably already inherits that. A background of, I don't even know if success is turned on. It doesn't look like it is. Is that even, so what is that supposed to be? Oh, it's just the primary color. Okay. So we'll do primary light, and then I think the color is actually primary. Okay, So that's good. Let's font weight, bold that. And then let's just give it a little bit of padding. And by the way, you can get, if you want more, you can get more real estate up here. Let's see, font weight of 700. Okay. Oh, I already did font weight bold. It was the padding I was going to do next. Padding of 0.5 M, 0.25 M. Okay, perfect. And then we see an alignment issue. That always lets you know, hey, just come down and align items to the center. And then let's do a border radius of radius. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we got this little new badge in here. And I would sometimes just do font size and like percentage because it's already kind of set at this level right here. And we're just saying, I just need to be a little smaller than that. How much smaller? I don't really care. Just like a little bit relative to what was already going on. Okay, so we got a nice little badge in there. This might be primary ultralight, primary light. What did they use? Oh, they did, okay. I did the wrong background color on the actual badge. So that was not primary ultralight. They literally went with white. Okay, that makes sense. Now we would go primary ultralight here, and we have primary there. Perfect. All right, save. Let's go ahead and check this on the, oh, that error that I just got probably means I missed a semicolon somewhere. Primary ultralight, still there. Let's comment this. Where did I miss it? Save. Okay. Let's go back out. All right. Get rid of that. Can I save now? Okay. Let's leave and refresh. All right.
Also, just to jump in here, right, real quick.
I got logged out. Hold on. I might have got logged out. Let me see. Yeah, go ahead.
Alan's back, and his screen is back as well. So
I did. I got logged out. All right, let's go. There's probably a zip. All
then
right,
this might be the right moment to switch.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me make sure we're. I wonder how long we were logged out for before. It's probably when I started getting the error. Hopefully, actually, let's go to. Okay, section intro
Let's
bad.
do that for now.
Okay, we're back. Save. Okay, I just got logged out there. All right, so we're back in action. What we did is we essentially took a data attribute and we stuck in a static. I think this is actually new.
Also, just to make this clear, Andrea just said I did nothing this time.
Okay, good. Oh, Andrea's here. Nice. All right, so let's recap a little bit. I don't think the data attribute got saved. So let's put data badge label. Is that what we called it? Data badge label equals new.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll stick that on there. Data badge label equals new. So you see, I statically put content new in here. But what I really want to be able to do is take this, and you can do this with the adder function. So you do adder, which is short for attribute, and then you put data badge label, and now you see new. But the difference here is if I did like on sale, it would be on sale. And now it's dynamically controllable from the HTML and not statically input into the CSS, which is really nice and really cool. And then when you create your component, you could decide, like I said, you could have a drop down where it's like, here's the ones they can choose that are available. And then you could map those to specific colors if you wanted to. Or you can do maybe what we'll do, which is just give them a text box and they can write whatever they want and it'll just show up, whatever they write, and it'll always be the same color. But does that make sense? Like what we're doing here to here?
Yeah, I got two things on my end. Content, I don't think it's saved. It still says my badge if you just want to make it the same as whatever it says on the like on the actual, not the actual badge thing, but animated things. Small thing. Second thing is, so when you're going through and you're styling all of that, you're using obviously heavy variables because you want to stick to the framework, which makes sense. But what is your decision-making process like? At my skill level with this, when you go padding on around the badge and around the actual like full thing there, the whole, whatever we're calling that, the CTA part or whatever, when you go like 0.5, what is it there? Like 0.5 M and 0.75 M, is that not sacrilegious? Like, are we like, when
No,
can we put in some hard values versus like, do we have anything available to us that would be helpful, or is this just such a unique little thing that it doesn't matter?
it's not that it doesn't matter. It's really that this is still for a very specific purpose, right? So this 0.5em is actually relative to a variable that I already used, right? So when you set a font size, and I used a variable to set the font size, this 0.5em is based on this variable. And if I change this to S, the padding is actually going to scale accordingly. Whereas if I used a variable here, like a spacing variable, it would just stay that spacing at, and I'm looking at the gap, we should be looking at the padding. If I used variables here, if the text got bigger, like let's say that badge got really big for whatever reason, it would have tiny, tiny, tiny little padding, right? And that would look horrific. So I've used the variable here, and all I'm saying with the ems is please map the padding to the font size so that if the font size ever gets bigger or smaller, the padding just adjusts accordingly. And this badge never breaks, essentially. So that's not abandoning the variables. It's literally that a variable is not appropriate for that particular application.
Ever though, or just in that specific instance?
In
Obviously.
a situation where your padding is relative to font size, you would probably want to use ems. And like buttons is another very clear example because you're going to have big buttons and small buttons. So you cannot have static padding in your buttons. Otherwise, when they get bigger, the padding's going to look awful. Or when they get smaller, it's going to look awful. You want the padding to respond accordingly. But there are a lot of things like cards, for example, where there's not like a big card and a small card, right? And then any changes in the relative font size of the things in the card doesn't necessarily, because there's so many elements packed inside of a card that you usually want to set the padding more statically. And when I say static, these are clamp functions, right? So they're also automatically responsive. They will get smaller on smaller devices or when there's less space. Yeah, they just scale fluidly versus some sort of fixed value.
Okay, well, just to close the loop on that, then, any padding variable that you would ever use, like spacing variable, anything like that? Are you saying that those ultimately are static though? Because like, if they weren't static, then couldn't you still use it even though it's a variable? Maybe it's like an extra. It goes through an extra step, but it's still using ems or whatever. Maybe I'm
No,
misunderstanding
not
that
really.
part.
Because this is like, so right here, this font size maps to a very complex clamp function that takes the minimum text size you want and the maximum text size you want, which is also based on a math scale related to your other text sizes so that it's always uniform. And then it calculates a middle value based on the content width of your website so that it scales fluidly between the content widths and doesn't ever go larger or smaller than that. And then all of that is based on rem. And rem is based on the root font size of the site or the project. And it's based on rem because the user actually has control over that via the browser. They can go in and say, hey, I want all my text to be bigger. Okay, that's going to be accessible. All of the text is going to be bigger. The only true static value would be a pixel unit. So like if you did 20 pixels, this is not accessible. And the minute you see somebody do this, you can just know, okay, they're either stuck in 2007 or 5 or whatever, or they just don't know what they're doing, right? So that's not accessible. You wouldn't ever do that. It's not good. But that's the only true, like, that will just be 20 pixels at all times, regardless of what else is happening. Everything else is literally relative. So these are relative. VWs, VHs, those are relative to the device size. You have container query units, which are relative to the container. There's a lot of relative values. Pixels is the only real static one.
Gotcha.
So I've seen some of these clamp functions that go into making something like text SS, for instance, XS, for instance. Like AT is producing these kinds of clamp functions as well, and they're insane. They're really big. I wonder if whoever came up with clamp in the first place, just like, were they envisioning this, that this kind of crazy fuckery would be necessary? And
It's not really what they were envisioning. It's how it was used to. I don't think they were envisioning the clamp was designed to scale something fluidly from one size to another size. It wasn't designed specifically for text or spacing or images or something. There's a lot of use cases for clamp. And then when somebody said, when somebody started developing the theory of, and this is why, I don't quite agree with what Alan said earlier. That's like just CSS is just CSS. A lot of CSS is engineered by somebody over dozens or even hundreds of hours of experimentation and thinking and philosophy and testing and everything else. And they come to a working solution that nobody else has come to. And then if you come along and take that and then just be like, well, CSS is CSS, right? You literally are taking all of that work and thought and whatever. And if they shared it, that's perfectly fine. Like, and I share a ton. I just wanted to counter the idea that like CSS is CSS, which is like JavaScript is JavaScript. So I can just take the entire JavaScript application that somebody built, or PHP is PHP. So I can just take all the functions that they wrote, right? Unless they're openly like sharing that, it is taking, because somebody put those things together that way for that purpose. And it created a solution that nobody else had come to yet. And so, I think that is a good distinction to make. But when somebody was engineering the concept of fluid responsive typography, and I've read literally the philosophy on it, how it went from point A to where it is, point Z, right? And it became complex as they identified various challenges with it. For example, you can do fluid typography with one rim value, another rim value, and 5 VW as the middle value, or 15 VW or whatever. But it's not accurate across the entire spectrum of the devices. And so people realize, okay, that it looks like it works, but it's not as accurate as it actually should be. And then you ask the question, well, you can math your way to perfect accuracy. Well, what does that math look like? Well, it turns out like you have to know the content width of the website, then you have to calculate a slope, and then you have to calculate this other thing over here, and you got to put them together, and those are based on the min and the max, so that if the min or the max changes, the middle value has to recalculate itself. It gets quite complex if you want to do it perfectly accurately, and that's what they came up with. And somebody put a lot of work and a lot of thought into doing that, and it is very valuable. And the good news is that thanks to variables, we never have to look at those clamp functions. Thanks to Automatic CSS, for example, this is one thing where people are like, okay, they go to this clamp generator. There's a dozen of these clamp generators, right? And they get their H1 through H6, and they put in all the values, and it spits back the CSS, and people literally go, okay, good, I don't need ACSS anymore. I don't need a friend. I just did it myself. I did it myself. You didn't do it yourself. You don't know what you're doing. You didn't do it yourself. So there is H1 through H6 right here. These are all based on a math scale. The math scale is set on desktop and mobile. So it's all of these sizes are related to each other. You go in and you change a top value or a bottom value, the middle has to recalculate. When you generate all of those clamps from an external generator, none of that recalculation happens. You are literally, if you just change the top and you move on with your life and you don't recalculate the middle, you've kind of broken your clamp function a bit. And then if you are based on a math value, you're no longer related to the other sizes. There's a lot of problems there that they don't realize because they're just looking surface layer. They don't realize all of the recalculation that's actually happening for them in a tool like this that's native versus some external clamp generator. And by the way, that's affecting their typography, that's affecting their spacing, that's affecting their everything. And then we go into colors, and the same kinds of things are happening in externally generated color palettes versus a color palette that's actually properly managed inside of the project. This is through every layer of the project, you find these breakages and inaccuracies when somebody abandons because they just think, or somebody told them, oh yeah, I mean, you can just use a generator. You can just do it yourself. They don't realize all the things that they're breaking and all the inaccuracies that they're creating. So I just wanted to make that point.
Alan, you want to jump in at that point? How's your internet doing at this point? We see you dropping in and out. Is it like How's that going for you?
Oh, sorry guys, I didn't even see the point. My internet just keeps dropping every 30 seconds. Sorry.
Oh shit.
What am I responding to?
So we kind of circled back a little bit to this to the idea that it's just CSS is CSS, HTML is HTML, but so like whatever you come up with or whatever you put into ATF is it's just something you can also come up with yourself. And Kevin made the argument that no, it's not necessarily like a lot of things that are standards now or that we use today are there's a shitload of work has gone into it and a shitload of ingenuity. So that's sort of to sum it up. Does that do justice to what you said, Kevin?
Yeah, sure.
You've got the better words, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, I agree. My comment's a bit oversimplified. I'm talking about simple things, just the very basic stuff that's in there. And ATF is not intended to be, as we keep saying, it's not intended to be a fully fledged, framework competing with frameworks like ACSS. But also, there's lots of sources for these things too. Lots of other resources, CodePen. There's other frameworks. Not everything comes from the one place. So, but yeah, I absolutely agree. I think Kevin's done an amazing job. I keep telling Kevin how amazing he is, and he comes up with all these great ideas. And I'm the first one to tell him how amazing it is when he comes up with these ideas. And I know there's thought that goes into it, but it's just, I'm saying it, you don't need all of that. I'm probably not saying this correctly, but I don't think you could simply say that you can't do it yourself, but there's certainly certain things that are a lot more complex that needs a lot more thought. I'd agree with that.
All right, so should we turn this into a component, put in some logic and put in some fun stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. And then let's see if Alan's internet stays stable enough. I do want to go back to bricks at some point, and if at all possible, I want to finish that part as well.
Yep. Okay. So this is essentially what we're looking like. And like I said, so we got it working statically. So now it is time. And I think, by the way, I'm looking at their text size. I don't know that this is just small. I think this is just their text size that they use. So again, an example of like one point I like to make when people are watching with Automatic CSS. It's the only framework I really know of that you can literally set it up after you're done. Like you could just build the entire project and then set up the framework. Because if you're using the right variables in the right places and the right techniques as you go through, as we teach, right? Everything is contextualized so well that you can literally change things at any time. You can set it up at any time. You can change things at any time, without any breakages, right? So I've had this set at 20 pixels, right? I'm going to drop it down to 16 pixels, and then we'll save. And we're going to see like the this is headings. Hold on, text 16. And you will get a live preview here. And by the way, this is an unreleased version of ACSS Dev 27. We're working on 4.0. We're taking it from the Era 3 to the Era 4. We're doing a bunch of stuff with the color system, going to OKLCH color space. We're doing stuff with stripping out a lot of the utilities that you don't need anymore. A lot of cool stuff happening here. So now my body text size is changed all throughout the website. It's still fully responsive. It's going to go from 16 down to 14, and all that's good. So again, you can adjust this stuff at any time. All right, so what I'm going to do, and now that I've updated that, I'm just going to refresh. We're going to make the section intro as a component. Now, again, I like to make the point and stop here. Like if you wanted to make what they call like a synced pattern in Gutenberg, or like a lot of builders had this concept of just like a synced thing, like globally synced. It's not where you can change the content per instance or whatever. just globally sync. And that was the extent of what they ever gave you. If you wanted to do that, you can hit save here, you can exit, and now I have this thing that is synced globally. And so this is valuable, by the way. Like there are, let's say that there was a very specific global call to action thing that you were gonna make, and you always wanted it, maybe had an offer in it, like this month's offer, and you need all of them to always be in sync at all times. That's totally valid. That's a valid use case. That's essentially what we've done here. So just by right-clicking it, say create component, hit save, don't put any props in it, don't put anything in it. Anytime I need to change it, I would just go edit it. I would change what I need to change, I would hit save, it would update everywhere. So this would be like a propless component. You can make those. There are use cases for them. But in this case, because we need the content to change on a section by section basis, we are going to put in a lot of props and conditional logic. And this is one of those components that you either make it at the very beginning of a project, and there's two ways to make it. You can look at the design of the project and see all of the various things that you're going to need, and you can build them all in at once, or you can make the first iteration of it, and then when you get to a place where you need it to do something different, you can program in that different behavior at that time. The beauty of a component is that they're all the same. Like they're all going to respond to whatever you're doing at any time. So you don't have to perfect it before you deploy it. You can deploy it 1,000 times and then come back and perfect it. And you can make it more complex as you use it throughout a project. So when people watch this, just understand there's not one lane to go down. And it's not like, because you might be like, man, you spent a lot of time just making an intro component. Well, one, I didn't have to do all that work right away. Two is, yeah, but then when I go use it 5,000 more times, I don't have to do anything. Where what other people would be doing is, now I got to have a modifier class, or I got to do this, or they're not using a component-based workflow. Then they don't have any of the benefits of a component-based workflow. And that for some reason never gets factored in when people talk about like speed. I made this point on Mark's stream the other day. It's like one of the most important points in modern web design. It is not how fast you can get from point A to point B. Getting from point A to point B, if you just open Elementor and style everything at the ID level and just rush and just throw shit on a page, don't do any CPTs, don't do any loops, don't do anything, and just not even like good CSS, just style panels, ID level, but you will probably win the race if we're just going from point A to point B. But where you arrive is dog shit. That's where you arrive. So you won the race to dog shit. That's not the race we're trying to win. We're trying to win a race of quality and professionalism and doing things the right way, and scalability and maintainability and accessibility. That's the race we're trying to win. And if you use the techniques that achieve that, what you start to realize is, there's like a speed curve to where things might start out a little slower, but as the project scales, it actually gets exponentially faster and faster and faster to do things. Because the components are already built, the logic's already there, the loops are already configured, and when you're adding on to the project, you can then add on or scale or make changes lightning fast, where other people are now playing a copy paste game. And see, we never check in later and see, hey, is it still a really fast workflow? I see you're doing a lot of copying and pasting there, my friend. That seems to never be in the conversation, right? They only want to talk about the very initial first part of a build and nothing else. And that's because they know it's a shit show later. They can only win the very initial race, right? They can never win the long race. Okay, so I like to make that point. All right, so we have a heading, a lead, we have a button, which is gonna need a label and a link. We have this badge, we have the disclaimer, we can't forget the badge label as well. So there's gonna be a lot of props that go into this. So I need text for my heading, we're gonna put that in. I need text for my lead. We're going to put that in. I need a button label. I need a button URL. I need a badge. I need the badge label. I need the disclaimer text, okay? And we've tried to engineer this so that it's very quick. You can, by the way, drag these and reorder them if you want to. And then you just label them, right? So heading, these are all scoped to the component you're working on. So you don't need fancy, cute names. You don't need BIM. You don't need anything else. You just call them what they are. So heading, lead, button label, button link, and this one is going to be the badge text, and then this one is going to be the badge label. And then this one is going to be the disclaimer text. And then we also have that little icon. Okay, so we're going to do a media here, and we're going to say disclaimer icon. Okay, we didn't put in a real icon. We just used a little etch icon there, but that's fine for right now. Okay, so I've got all of my props. Now, a lot of these props can just be synced up like this. You literally click the target and you just click the thing. So if it's an accessible thing on the canvas, it's very easy to link these things up. We'll go down to badge text, which is...
You have to say bang though. What the hell are you doing?
I do. Sometimes I forget. All right, we'll try it and just because it does tend to work better. So the badge label is an example of one that's not an actual element, right? Remember that's a pseudo element. It's not selectable on the canvas, so I can't bang that one, right? But this disclaimer right here, this disclaimer side, you can't bang. You can do that, and it will work, right? An SVG source is another example of one that you can't bang, at least not yet. Like you will be able to at some point. But we're gonna come in and just say props.disclaimer icon, and that's gonna get the job done. So it's not hard. It's just 2 brackets and the word props and then the name of the prop. Like it's not rocket science here, okay? We go to the badge here, same thing. I can access the code. I could just do this right here in the code itself. And then this is not disclaimer icon. This is going to be badge label. You could do that here. You can do that in the sidebar because we do reveal every attribute as an input in the sidebar if you don't want to touch the code, or even if you don't want to ever see the code. All right, you could just say, I don't want to ever see HTML. Well, guess what? You can still access the HTML attributes right here for all elements. So you don't technically need the HTML editor open, but it is very, very nice to have, very nice to have. Okay, so badge label, we're going to say is new. And these are the default values that you're setting over here. And when I bang them, as Mark said, it will automatically take whatever was there and put it in as the default value. This is going to be call to action. I don't know if you can bang buttons or not. Yeah, okay, you can do the label. You can't do the link. We'll just set that as a £. I'll copy the key right here, and I'll go to my CTA. And again, there's the href right there. I'll just pop that in. Props.button link is the new href, okay? And then again, you can toggle these and see what you want to see. How's our heading looking? Let's go out and just see where we're at. So looks like all of our default content is in. What we would go test is this a unique heading, right? And so now I have the ability to control the heading, even though I have this component, right? I can put unique content into it. Okay, so we're gonna save there. Next thing that we're gonna decide probably is, do we need all of these elements at all times, okay? And the answer is obviously no. So sometimes we don't want the button. Sometimes we don't want the disclaimer. Sometimes we don't want the badge. And then, of course, we're going to talk about H1 versus H2 in this heading. So in Etch, we use what we would call like a block-based conditional logic system, which is very, very flexible, very handy, very easy to read and look at and wrap things in. And I'll give you an example right here, where we have our button, okay? I'm gonna create a Boolean prop, which is essentially like yes, no, true, false, right? So I would say show button, okay? And show button can be true or it can be false. And all I need to do is map that to this CTA right here. I can do that by right click, wrap in condition. So I'm just literally sticking the button inside of a condition. We're not assigning conditions to elements because that doesn't make any sense. A lot of builders do that. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't allow you to group things or move conditions. I have very often in other interfaces added conditional logic to an element only to realize, oh shit, I need more things inside here, or this actually needs to be in a larger group context, and that group actually needs the conditional logic. And because it was applied to a specific element, you have to like undo it from that element and then go redo the logic on this other element after you make the group. Well, if you just use block-based conditions like this, you can literally drag things in and out of the condition. And they'll apply to the condition. So it's very nice. So what we're gonna do here is props.show button, all right? And just like that, I'm done. I have a prop where I can show or hide the button, okay? It's not complex. And if you are wondering here, like, I didn't see you put in like equals true or equals false or isn't true or isn't. This is a native check. It's an inherent check. If you just reference a Boolean prop, it does the logic for you automatically. All right. So it's just gonna check the value, and it's gonna do the default is to show. So if it's true, it's gonna show, right? And that's it. That's all you need to do. So we're gonna go out, and now I've built in that little bit of functionality where anytime I'm using an intro, I can decide whether it has a button or not a button. Now, there are other interfaces. Figma's one of them, where they use what we call a snapshot component system. A snapshot component system is, let me create a snapshot of the component, then let me duplicate that, let me delete the button and save that as a new snapshot. Then what I'm gonna do is duplicate again, and I'm gonna have one where I don't have the disclaimer, and then I'm gonna save that again. But what you start to realize, if you use the noggin a little bit, it's atrocious. It's atrocious because you can't, like, you have to, you end up having like 100 of them. If you have a bunch of different scenarios, it starts to compound. And like, to do this with that, but not that, you need another snapshot and another snapshot. And the snapshots never end. And so a snapshot-based component system is, to me, an atrocity. And so we decided very early on, no, we're just gonna do conditional logic inside of the component to where I can have any combination of things by controlling those things independently. Like, I don't need any, there is one component instance, there's no snapshots, and conditional logic controls everything. So we can go back in and we can say, hey, I need another Boolean prop, and this one is going to be show lead, right? Show lead. So now I take my lead right here, I right click, I wrap in a condition, props.show lead. Here's what we want to check. Easy as that. Now look, instead of snapshots, right, I have a flexible intro component where I could not show the button or the lead, or I could show the lead but not the button, or I can show the button but not the lead. I can suddenly get any combination of behaviors that I want very simply, and I'm only managing one component. There's never more than one component to manage in this regard. I could keep going, we could do the badge, we could do whatever, but I think you get the point.
One thing here, Kevin, if there's people watching, probably a lot of people kind of already know what components are, but if they catch this and they don't realize that, I think they're probably going to be confused at this point that we're operating in the instance of a component when we're in this view. So maybe just duplicate that real quick, just to display, like, understand that, like, when you put stuff in there, you're affecting the props of that instance. So yeah, so that like illustrates it definitely a lot better. And now you start to see kind of how powerful this could be, because you're setting that stuff at the component level itself, and then you're affecting all the different props in all those different instances.
Yeah, watch this. This is a good, I'm gonna put this heading here. Okay. Let's put there. I think it's gonna snap into action in just a second because I moved it. And it might have passed through some conditional logic. Okay. Now, obviously it looks stupid, okay? But there are people, the reason I'm doing this as an example, okay? I said semantically, you want your heading to be first in the DOM. There are people, right, who build just according to what they see. And so they would put text, then they would put heading, then they would put text, then they would put button. That is correct visually, but that is incorrect structurally. And that may flag on an accessibility audit, for example. And so you finish an entire site. You've deployed an untold amount of section introductions, right? If this is a 40-page website and each page has 7 sections, okay? Do the math, that's a lot of section intros. You didn't make it a component. All you did was, it was like a simple pattern you saved. You deployed this thing all over the place. And then that accessibility audit comes back and goes, hey, you fucked up that section intro. That H1 needs to come, the heading needs to come first. Go ahead and fix that. Well, now here you are. And this is, again, where they, is this part of the race? Are we still racing? Because for me to make that fix, all I have to do is I have to go in and say, oh yeah, okay, let me edit my component. And by the way, let's, if you didn't notice this, okay, go out. So they all are wrong. They all are wrong, right? I go in and I look at that audit report and I go, oh, he wants me to move the heading to the top? Okay. All right, well, let me just do that real quick. And every instance even though they have unique content in them. Every instance on this site is now fixed. Are we still racing? Are we still racing, right? Let's make sure is the clock still running, right? That's what I'm talking about. So these people that don't use component-based logic, they don't use classes, they don't use BIM, it only works when everything's perfect and it's in the very beginning. And then when things start to change and things get dynamic and things need to scale and it all falls apart. All the duct tape falls apart, right? But then at that point, they're like, well, we're not racing anymore, I guess. So that's a good example of the point that I'm trying to make. And that's what the value of a component. That's the value of a component right there. That I have global control over the HTML. By the way, if this is a more complex component, like it has JavaScript, it has PHP, now there's more layers of complexity, and all of those things would be baked into the component. They're all controllable from one single source of truth. Whereas if you ignore component-based development, you don't have any of those benefits. And all you're doing, every new section intro you deploy that's not a component, you're compounding any potential problems. The problems just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so that's probably the biggest sales pitch for components that I can think of. Let's do real quick so people can see, because this is actually new in Etch. So obviously we have an H1 down here. There can only be one H1 on the page. So having an H1 over and over and over again is clearly a problem. So we have a new dynamic element, which we call the element because it can be any element and it can accept its tag dynamically from a prop or a custom field or whatever it may be, right? And so you can add this by clicking, but as always, like you can also just write them in, okay? So it's gonna turn into text. We have the etch element. Now, I think there is a bug with this that's fixed. I don't have the new version loaded onto this site, but essentially now what you have is the ability to control the tag dynamically, but pass in any actual custom value, which the bug is that we can't type brackets in here right now, and we need to be able to do that for the prop. But I can show you exactly how it's done. It's already fixed, I just don't have the new version. We're gonna select this, and we're gonna say heading level. And this is an example too of, I'm gonna drag this all the way to the top. So you set your heading, text, then you choose your heading level. We're gonna go H1, we're gonna go H2. I'm not gonna have an H3 as an option because, why? It's a section heading. You're not gonna have a section heading that's an H3, so we're not even gonna make it an option. These select boxes let you tailor how the component behaves, and you should choose the right options for it, right? So H1 and H2, and then literally all you would do is pass this props.heading level. And it would do the same thing that we've done with conditions. It would inject whatever the person selects right there. You can't see it right now because I can't put in this. So I wonder if I can, yeah, I don't think I can. So obviously it actually was working on the other demo. So I've demonstrated it before. People can go watch that or just watch in my next video follow-up where we'll be able to type brackets in here. But this is how you map it. And now from outside of the component, I'll just save even though it's not working. I'll save it. You would just be able to choose H1 or H2 right here. And that's gonna pass that straight into that dynamic element. And now I can deploy this safely, whereas if it's a hero, I choose H1. If it's not a hero, I choose H2. And what you can even do, just to explain this as well, if you want H2 to be the default, you can simply list it first. And so when you add a component element to a section, it's gonna choose H2. If it happens to be a hero, you can just switch it to H1. So that's really, really, really handy. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back for right now. We'll save, I'll go back out. I also wanna make note for people, if you are, like this is how this works. So we're developing a brand new page. That was probably, okay, I can get it. I can get it back. I didn't make the whole grid a component, so we can't just add it back, but that's fine. All right, so here I am in a new section, and it's like, hey, I need an intro. Okay, so you come in here, bang, section intro, there it is. Then you fill out your props, you choose H1 or H2, you move on to the next section. You can see now how, okay, and I'll move on to the next section down here. So here it is. Hey, I need another section intro. Why? Because it's a section. Great, I'm gonna add it. There it is. I'm gonna customize the content. I'm gonna move on with my life. By the way, you can have left aligned, center aligned. You can do anything that you need to do, you can do. And now you can see how you're working on new pages very, very, very fast. And if we look at this, which we're still working on our Gutenberg authoring, Here's your intro component right here, which is a synced pattern in Gutenberg, literally sitting in the pattern library. Here's all of your exposed props. So if your client is coming in and they're editing the site, or they just want to build, they're like, I just want to build a landing page with all the patterns and components that you created for me. They could literally go in and do that. They can go in here, go to patterns, and they can start doing stuff with there's the device pattern that we made. They could add that in. They could add a section intro in. They can do all of this stuff themselves in Gutenberg. And it's all based on what you decided they should be able to do and control, so that they never break anything. They're never confused, right? Very, very, very good client editing experience coming. And we also have a super secret aspect of that project that is coming, that is literally going to change the entire WordPress custom block ecosystem. All of that is about to change. So that's going to be very, very exciting. All right, I'll turn it back over to you guys for now.
Thank you, Kevin. Holy shit. So just a quick update on where we are. We've lost Alan. I mean, he's still alive, but he's not on the internet anymore.
What do you think?
His internet isn't. So he unfortunately had to bow out. He wrote us in the group and he said, yeah, that's not happening. So let's just take a moment here to say thank you very much to Alan for being here. I'm really glad we took him. We had him on first because it was really interesting to see ATF and AT and see him build with that. And yeah, so I've been working behind the scenes to see what else we can still do to at least kind of wrap this up with bricks, or to bring it back to bricks and see some comparison. And that also means that
micro interaction, by the way. I know a lot of people requested that. So
sorry,
that micro interaction that people wanted to see, we should probably make sure we fit that in, because they wanted to see it. The little animation.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, my idea was that I quickly spun up one of my blueprints, and so I could at least try to rebuild some component-y thing. I'm not a massive expert at it, but that could be one thing that at least we look at it, and perhaps between the three of us we can fiddle it together, just for people who are curious about bricks, or people who have, I don't know, not used components as much, so that we can see some of that. And then, but the animation, I wouldn't know how to do that in bricks. If you do, Kevin, then I'll share my screen and jump in and let me know. Just I guess guide my hand or something like that. Would we all be cool with that?
Yeah, I mean, it would be easier for me to just do it on mine, because
if you have one set up.
It depends on the structure a little bit too. Am I still screen sharing? I don't even know.
Yes. Yeah. I'm bringing it back into
weren't we supposed to talk something about like the bricks components? I don't think we got there with Alan, but like the bricks components.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They're built.
I'd be very happy to just go back to bricks, and world's best web developer is saying, Kevin, use bricks again just for old time's sake. Just getting the band back together. Yeah, I could do that. Let's see. So Kevin, you said you could work on the animations.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like, kind of show that off.
Yeah, it's like not in bricks. I can just do it right here on this.
All right. Okay.
It's literally like 6 lines of CSS. I think it's good for people.
Okay, then bring it.
Yeah, CSS can do this stuff now. You don't need JavaScript. You don't need GSAP. You don't need a bunch of complexity, especially if you just want to do like micro animation type stuff.
No.
Okay, so essentially what we want is we want to define like a keyframes animation. And then we want to select, I think it's like, maybe those move, it's hard to tell, like just looking at it, but I know for sure that the second one and the fourth one definitely move up. So they're kind of lower, and as you scroll down, they move into the center. They move into their normal position. And that's again, it's called like a micro interaction. And to be clear, when I rail against animations, it's not really these kinds of animations. It's the zoom in, zoom out, and it's still not loaded even though I scrolled it into view, and it's because the animation is stuck. Like that kind of stuff, I'm not a big fan of.
Well, also, isn't your argument that it's what's really annoying is animations that kind of break the flow, like when you try to interact with the website and trying to see something, and instead you have to wait for the animation to finish?
Yeah, or like
when-
what are called scroll jacking animations, where
Oh,
you're
God,
scrolling down the page and they put a carousel, and the scrolling down forces you to go through the carousel before you can keep going.
Yeah, it's a pain.
That kind of stuff is an absolute nightmare. So, we do a lot in Etch with CSS nesting. Keyframes in CSS cannot be nested. They cannot be nested. They have to be put in like a global style sheet. So we're going to go to Style Manager, we're going to go to Style Sheets, and we're going to add a style sheet. We're just going to say that this is our maybe animations. And this is good because you can have like organized areas, and these are going to be exportable. So if I want to share all of my animations on this project with somebody, I could just share them that style sheet and not the entire project style sheet, of which, by the way, you see for this project that we've done so far, there is no style sheet. There's no global CSS. Everything is at the element level. And just to clarify that this CSS only gets loaded when that element is used. So the benefits of Tailwind that a lot of people talk about, right? Very, very similar here, where we're not just creating a giant style sheet and loading it at all times. Whatever is on that page, that's the styles that get loaded, and nothing else gets loaded. So we're going to go into here. We're going to go into style sheets. We're going to go into animations. You do keyframes with @keyframes, and then you name the keyframe. So we're going to say this is device offset. You always put a from and a to. Of course, these can get really complicated if you want them to get really complicated. We're going to go from transform translate Y, and I think like 40 pixels. I measured it earlier is I think about how much it's moving. And we're going to go to transform translate Y of 0. And essentially what this is saying, okay, we're going to start at a 40 pixel translation. Okay, so like when the page loads or whatever, it's going to be translated 40 pixels on the Y axis. And then we're going to take it to 0. So we're going to take it to a point where it looks like it was never translated to begin with. And that's kind of the effect that they've got going on there. So keyframes, device, offset. All right. Then what we're going to do, remember, we're not going to do this at the device level because it's not the device that's animating really. It's the device in the context of this group is where it is being done. So you want to put the instructions on the group itself. We're going to select the nth child. And this is where our toIn selector, okay, comes in. We're going to do our border 5 pixel solid red, just like that. And that's letting me know that I am selecting the appropriate things. There is a property called will change that they recommend that you use now. And this is essentially informing the browser that, hey, this thing is going to animate. And you're telling it the property that it is going to animate. So it's kind of prepared to process the animation. You're going to do the animation name, device offset. You're going to do the animation timeline, which is the new scroll function. This is all new, by the way, and I wouldn't go deploy this like on every project you do. If it's a personal project, whatever, fine. But you do need to start like being aware of it and learning it. I think it's at 75% browser support right now. I would estimate it's going to be over 90 in the very near future. It's not going to be long. But this is going to be kind of the new way to do these animations, okay? We're going to do root block here. Animation range is going to be entry of 0%. This is the scroll based, right? Exit of 60%. And you can tailor these, and hopefully we can get this working for everybody. Nth child to end will change transform. Okay, let's save. Let's go to take a trip to the front end and see if we've got it going on. And then we can maybe do a little bit of debugging if it's not working. There we go. Okay. So now this, like the speed, the pace of it, I believe is going to be controllable essentially by changing the exit value. So the exit value is like this is the range of scroll that it goes through. And obviously, if you have to go through more range, it should theoretically happen a bit slower. So we're going to go in there. Okay. It's about the same. This is the effect that we're going for, right? And then you can play, let's see what happens if I maybe do 30%. Okay, let's go back to 0. We can also get that and just scroll down here and get even more room. It's looking pretty good. So that's the effect. No more, you don't.
Will change property.
Will change.
Yeah, very literal. It's very literal. This is like, I mean, compared to, I think Alan actually previewed all the code that he was loading into WP Codebox to do like scroll-based animations like this. This is kind of the new method of doing that. And as you can see, it's like, you know, what, 6 lines of CSS. So you got 4 here and you got 2 in the main style sheet after you define your keyframes. So very easy to manage, very easy to apply. And that's pretty much it.
Are you saying that whole thing is new? Like the keyframes and everything generally? Or, I mean, I've
no, not keyframes. Keyframes is okay. This scroll function and the animation timeline. And then, of course, I think this animation range is belongs to this family of new animation timeline animations. But this is what's new. So if you go to like, can I use, and you put in scroll, like the scroll function. So there's you're going to see animation timeline scroll, 75.89%. The only browser we're waiting on, as usual, is Firefox. It'll never be an IE, so that's never going to contribute. It is, I think, behind a feature flag in Firefox. So, and that lets you know, like, it's going to be coming very, very soon. And for everybody that's wondering, essentially what happens is once every browser adopts it, it's still going to be like at 80% because not every user updates their browser right away. And so there's a kind of a lag period where enough people now have updated to where the number climbs over like 90% and you're free to use it. But this is why I said you want to learn and you want to start to transition to, because it's right around the corner and like it simplifies these scroll-based animations so tremendously over something like GSAP or a lot of JavaScript or whatever. It's just, yeah, it's very nice, very neat, very clean, very light.
Yeah. No external libraries.
Yeah, yeah.
Lit. I had a random quick question. I think Maddie's going to jump here at some point, but I have a random quick question. Just again, conceptually, like zoom out, not framework, it's a bad word, but if we jumped in, Kevin, to like the Etch website, like the actual Etch WP website or your personal website, generally, if you have like a well-designed website, how much, if you like just took a look at each page, like and looked at the structure, I mean, is there a good amount of it that's reusable components that are in there?
Yeah, all the
because
time.
I mean, that's what I mean. It's like I feel like that's a whole different line of thinking, depending on, you know, what you're coming from. If you're coming from Bricks, if you're coming from some other builder that maybe you're not accustomed to that. When you actually develop the skill of seeing a site in pattern, you know, vision like that, a lot of the shit's reused. Like, unless you're just throwing random stuff in there, right? So it's like, I just think that would be an interesting exercise. Not for right now, maybe, but.
Well, it can be done very quickly. It's like, but it's a tremendously valuable exercise. I hate all these like, I forgot what this style of design is called, but it's like going wild lately. It's like what brutalist or something is what it's called. Fucking hate it, dude. I can't. And like all the inspo sites now are like brutalist design. I'm like, no. So we're not going to look at one of those. So this is going to be. So you look at something and you try to find a repeating pattern. I already see it. You see, like this is so common, right? Mm-hmm. So this is obviously an intro component because you're going to need it again right here. You're going to need it again right there. You're going to need it again right there. And yeah, there may be little variations, and that's what you build in so that you can literally just, once you've built in the variations, you're just clicking buttons. It's like, so for all the people that love to just click buttons, I mean, that's the life you're building for yourself. That's amazing, right? You just throw in an intro, click, 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 and you have whatever variation you need. Then you look at a card like this. Well, we already see 3 of them right next to each other. Anytime there's more than one, probably should be a component. And then you're probably going to say to yourself, yeah, I mean, I could see myself using this kind of thing on a bunch of different pages. And if this site had a bunch of different pages, we would probably literally see them on a bunch of different pages. Hey, look, oh my gosh, a card. Again, another one. They just flip back and forth. They are a component, and I could see myself using these on multiple different pages. Oh, look, a CTA. That is going to be a component. This is a component with a slot, right? So that I can put any content inside of it, but that is a component. That is an accordion component. Here's a CTA component I would create. Here's a footer, which is a component. Here's a header, which is a component. The entire site, literally, this grid component right here. There isn't anything on this page except for this. Let me clear that out. This right here, because that's probably just in this hero, just on this one page, okay? So we build that, put it in, whatever, that doesn't need to be a component. I don't see anything else that should not be a component. And by the way, if you're thinking about this, 1, 2, 3, these should auto count. That would be nice to put in. So many people, I think, man, they do, like this life that people choose to live where they statically number these, and then I see them have to move one, and there could be a list of 10, and now they're having to go through and manually reorder every number, click into 7 different elements to find the number and change the number, and then go to the next one. Just make it auto count. And then and by the way, if it's supposed to be counting, it should be an ordered list on the back end. What's the over under on whether this is an ordered list or not an ordered list if we pull up the DOM? Probably not, right? Probably another Framer dog shit site. Look, there it is, right? 8 gazillion divs and no semantics whatsoever. And again, you're like, well, I mean, it looks good, Kevin. It looks beautiful. It's getting conversions. Great. It can't scale. It can't, as this business grows, like it's going to be an absolute nightmare to maintain.
Well, and especially because as Etch is authoring this stuff directly into Gutenberg, I mean, we need to think of this more as curating client experiences. And this is something that keeps coming up on streams. You know, we're curating this stuff for clients. We're creating experiences for them to build blocks within Gutenberg, right? And so, you know, they have controls, they have toggles, so they can create their sections, and they can have, you know, buttons, and they can have CTAs, and they can stem off from, you know, a single section and have their little experiences that they can create within block editor, and have, you know, a complex experience, but it's, you know, somewhat dumbed down in a way. But, you know, we have this experience in Etch that they can craft.
Absolutely.
As developers, that it's more like creating a custom block.
And you see what's happening here, where you have very clean and clean code is not just about, oh, it's so nice, it's just so clean, I just did my job so well. It's like, that's not what it's about. Like, there are performance implications, but more importantly, it's when it gets down to the nitty gritty, it is debugging implications. When something's not working and you have to go debug it, and there's 70 different divs wrapping the thing that's actually not behaving, and then the CSS is an absolute atrocity, and you're literally in a situation where, like, I can't figure out what's going, and then it's another instance. They could burn an untold amount of time debugging something, and they pretend like the timer's not running while they're doing that, right? Then they tell me, oh, you don't really need clean code. They're like conveniently leaving out all of the nightmare scenarios when they talk about, wow, clean code doesn't matter that much. BIM doesn't matter that much. Components don't matter that much. They leave out all of the nightmares, and they just pretend that, like, the dropping things on a page is all that matters, right? It's wild. It's wild.
You just triggered my old Beaver Builder trauma. I'm gonna need to go back to therapy now.
And you can tell here too, there is no evidence that these things are components, that there's dynamic data, that it's nothing in the DOM is there's no extra wrappers, there's no extra anything. It's literally everything I put there is there and nothing added. It writes code cleaner than most actual developers write code. So you know, you get all the benefits, performance benefits, scalability, maintainability benefits, debugging benefits, client editing benefits, as Brendan was just talking about. It's a done deal.
So well, first of all, magnificently, we still have around 50 viewers. We've had around 50 viewers all through the entire stream for almost 3 hours now. So hats off to you guys. Thank you for sticking with us. Thanks for being so interested. And again, also really thanks to Alan and thanks to you, Kevin. I would like to spend the rest of the stream, if that's cool with you guys, just crashing and burning a little bit in bricks.
Yeah, go for
and
it.
just having some fun with this. I'm really just going to wing it. And in order to do this, I'm bringing in a good friend of mine, Anya, who's also been in the comments. You've probably seen her. Actually, Kevin, you responded to her earlier.
Yeah.
So there's Anya. Say hello.
That's Brendan, but
Hello.
Yeah, wait, yeah, no, she's there. She's right there, man. Don't you see her? She's right there. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Anya.
howdy.
So
Hello.
I'm bringing Anya in because she has more experiences with components in both Bricks and Etch, actually, than me. I'm still kind of lagging behind a little bit on the component train, but I'm getting there. I've used them a couple of times, and yeah, baby steps. But let's just see. Hang on. First of all, let me share my screen. Wait, do I have it? Yeah, it's right there. There we go. So this is my Bricks blueprint. Hang on a second. So there we go. Yep. So we're just gonna do some of what Kevin did, and just gonna try to cobble this together real quick. And I know that Bricks at least has the toggle feature, and I know that I used it once, but fuck if I remember how it works. So let's see. First, we're gonna have a section. Inside the section, we're gonna put this div. Also, really jump in and correct me anytime. So we're gonna have a heading. That's just a text, and then we're gonna have a button and whatever this is. So heading, text, a button, and there's no credit card required. I don't care about this. So that should be enough. And in here, we're gonna put an A. And you did this with it before, Kevin, right? Like this thingamabob.
Sorry, my mic was off. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And a data attribute. You're gonna need a data attribute there too.
Right. Okay. So feel free to. I'm going to ask questions because while you were presenting, I was distracted a couple of times by talking to Alan and stuff.
Yeah. Go to panel number 17 where the
yeah, exactly.
where the data attributes are.
So first of all, this whole thing needs to be.
Well, hold on. Let's just do a quick test. Because you've been using Bricks like a very long time, right?
Yeah.
Do you know where the data attributes are?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. I can't see because can we remove the thumbs because they're covering a lot of the.
Oh yeah, good idea. Thank you.
And you will get a lot of viewer complaints, as I know.
Yeah.
You don't want to be covering those controls. They get their pitchforks out.
But hey, I did share my screen.
Yes. All right. Go to add an attribute.
Burn,
there.
Kevin. Yeah, thanks though. So this is align cross-axis, and then we align the whole text as well. And we go back to this guy, make a stunning personal side. So this is going to be an H1, because why the hell not? Like, do we even bother? I mean, come on.
Have you, real quick, Maddie, how many times have you used components over here since they came out?
I'd say like all in all, 10 to 20 times is really not a lot. So that's why Anya is here to hold my hand.
But you have Kevin and everyone else, so I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just watching.
Oops. Okay, cool. You're just watching me burn. What was that?
Just for the girl power.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so and then we have this button. So first thing we're going to do is at this level, it becomes a component, I would say, right?
So what's the deal with the Bricks components that I saw that they're stored improperly or something?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, they're stored in the meta table
File or something.
Yeah, it's not great.
I'm going to call it Bev.
Oh,
Okay, so we have Bev, and now let's say we want to hide this thing. We want to have a toggle for this thing, right?
Yeah. Should I? Or you
Yes, please
go
go
look
ahead.
for it. No.
Go nuts. Tell
In
me.
in that bar.
It goes to the properties,
Yes.
right? And we add a toggle.
Show
Tag
pre-heading or so.
heading, whatever. Okay. Then we could group them, but that's entirely optional, right? It's just if we want to have fine grain control. True.
So you're making it false by default, or?
All right. I guess. Yeah.
It's wacky.
Yeah,
I would guess
I never.
That's probably true.
probably
Right
true.
there.
I would guess.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's the other way around.
Oh no!
No way. Seriously?
Because you use it with the eye thing up there, the visibility, and I think it's go to the eye. No, create it first, please.
Okay.
Hey, can we stop
And then go to the eye up there.
Can we make a note that this is
Bruh.
how, like, the UI is supposed to help, but it's
Yeah, this
confusing.
is not helping. I remember when I first
If we just wrapped it in a thing called props.whatever and it would just do its job, and then we wouldn't be confused.
Yeah.
Well, that was the
code would be
default,
less-
right?
The code would be less confusing.
Yeah, but click on the eye up there, and then you see where you use it. Like you would use it there, and hide element would be true. So the default would be off. So it's the way you have it now. Yeah.
So I'm connecting
Should
the
be-
toggle here.
Wait a
I was
second.
Now
connected in-
everything's gone.
Yeah, you're on the full element though.
No, you have to. Yeah,
Oh wait,
you're
yeah, of
on
course
the wrong.
everything's gone. Yeah, of course it's gone.
You're on the wrong element. Yeah.
Wait, how do I get rid of
Yeah.
disconnect? How's this? Why isn't that an X? Okay. So we want to. So I just created the whole toggle on the wrong.
Yeah, you just no. The toggle is okay.
Okay, yeah, it's on the
component.
parent, but now I can use it on this guy.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And now it's gone. So now we know what true false.
It is. Yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah, go back and switch it and see if it.
Yeah, now it should.
Then we'll know for sure.
True false.
Well, I mean,
oh yeah.
No,
I
you
guess
have to
it's
go to the
default.
front end.
You might have to exit the component editor.
Yeah. Exit
Well-
the component on the right.
is it going to change the default though? If you
back.
I always have to try that out
You
because
can
it's
actually
not
connect the
logical.
other property.
Okay, let's fucking reload. Let's see what happens.
when in doubt,
When in doubt.
There she is.
So this
Oh.
also confused me because there's two toggle properties. If you go back to your toggle property,
It's not connected yet somehow.
yeah, go
It's
back
not
to where you connected. Go back to where you connected the toggle property.
Maxime says you need to connect the control first. I'm not sure what we're talking about, but
Yeah,
back
go
to
to
the-
edit.
Edit.
Now,
Okay.
now go to pre-heading. Yeah, now connect it.
Edit this guy.
Stop.
Wait.
Go back.
Anya, you
now-
already know this, right? Like.
Yeah, I
do
know.
we have any circus music loaded up in Restream?
Oh, that would be nice, yeah.
Okay, go to edit.
Benny Hill thing.
No.
What did I
Okay,
do? What did
Now,
I? What?
don't go so fast. Don't click so fast. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Now click on the
Open
left button in the
instruction.
pre-heading. Connect. Yes.
Unconnected.
But now open up on the right. Open the tree so you can see all your elements.
Okay.
Because the one is hidden. Yeah, you hid
Well,
it
it's
by.
orange now,
yeah.
so
Now you hid it in the in the builder. Now you go to the eye and unhide it because you
Brendan,
yeah
Yes.
just
Builder
toggle
hide.
that
This is
off. Now
giving me
toggle it.
meetup
Now
PTSD.
click the purple thing.
oh,
Click-
of course I
yeah.
didn't connect it. Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
Front end hide
And one
element.
in the builder too, maybe. I don't know.
As the panels were supposed to make it easier. I was
Just
told.
too fast.
It was sold to me that the panels make things easier.
No, Maddie just clicks too fast without knowing what he's doing.
That's true. That is
He just clicks.
exactly true.
He just wants to be fast.
I want to show off, okay?
Okay, now go out of the thing and then try it. No, go.
So now I
Exit. No, exit.
right,
You're
and
yeah.
very
exit,
good
Why
at
right?
I
pasting
stopped
the
using them, because the inception that you get stuck in of like, where the hell am I?
Now
Like,
you can try.
Yeah. Okay, bingo.
Works.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You're a very good friend and patient.
Yeah.
oh, it
You
reloads
guys
the
make a good
entire.
team.
Does it
Yeah.
reload? the
I just
entire
tell him to go
component?
slow.
There you go.
Did you guys see that?
Click that.
Did we see
again.
what?
Try
I
it
think
again.
it reloads the entire component every time.
Wait, did it work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it worked. But it reloads the whole
Yeah, it
component.
reloads the entire component every time.
Reloads.
Jesus.
So, but
Oh, yeah.
true false is not helping here either. So can
No.
I give it a can I write something here?
What-
Like,
do you remember which one was the on off?
okay, yeah, turn the.
On or off? Visibility maybe.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter, right? You just
there-
click it and you see what's happening, and then
Mm.
it's fine. Okay,
That's how it's.
so
Are there 2 properties for this? Oh, that was a weird one.
what do you mean?
Just when you were back editing the actual, I think when you were back editing the actual component, I didn't understand why there was another thing underneath it, but
There is.
right there, edit component, click that.
Yes.
Or maybe not. No, I'm sorry, the pencil thing. There's too many buttons.
Which one?
There's a lot going on.
I
Click
think you
click
go
back.
to the So.
Yeah, back out of the component, I think.
Right.
And then click the pencil real quick.
Right. What does that do?
And then click
It's
on
the same.
pre-heading again. Pencil pre-heading.
Brendan D123 said your volume is too low.
Why does it say pre-heading on the bottom? Is it just saying that it's a toggle effectively?
How to
At
turn
the
it
very
up.
bottom?
Never
I
seen that
do
before.
not
See how it says
know.
pre-heading with a little, like, what the hell is that for? It's
Why
just,
is that down there? Yeah.
it's just not, it's just like saying what that is. I feel like
I
that
think
should
it's
probably
showing
be
you
top.
it's like showing you a rendition of what's going
Where you are right
That's a
now.
little wacky.
Could be.
Interesting.
Could be.
Did we, real quick, just so you click back in that one more time, the pencil, real quick for me. Did we solve this issue like that? If I create a toggle right now and my default looks like that, is that default to false or true?
I think now it's visible because you have to
Holy
toggle the
shit.
toggle on to hide it, because in the visibility settings, if it's off, it's visible. So I would say this is visible now
so
as a default.
well, yeah, I see.
But
I
you
think
don't
I
know.
understand what we're saying. It depends on how you're using it, right? Because true could mean visible or it could mean hidden, depending on how you're using the.
No, you're using it with the visibility. When you click on the eye again, Matt, please.
Slowly.
Because that's the default. It's turned off.
Yeah.
And I think it resembles the settings in the prop.
I would say so. Yeah.
So right there that says hide element false.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's not without a component. That's just a setting that you could
That's
flip
the
on or off.
default. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That setting is just always available. Yeah.
Right. I would say that then that means false when the toggle's to the left like that, rather to the. Okay. All right. That was fun.
Say you write in the prop. I would write hide.
Yeah. You got to change your label.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But that's neither here nor there. So the next thing, and then I guess like adding properties and stuff is pretty basic, right? But let's fucking do it. So we could add a property for the heading. We just go text.
Yeah.
Call it heading, text.
Bev called.
And we go back to the component.
No, you just have to connect
No, wait,
it. On the left, there's this little connect thing, link thing. Yeah.
There you go.
And then
connect it to the heading.
And then now you have to, yes, there.
Go here to heading text. And then,
Perfect.
yeah, okay. Nice.
You get used to it.
Yeah.
Now add a select field as a property.
Yeah.
Okay, I might as
What
well.
I like to use is class selector.
But
like
okay,
for the
so here's
buttons.
another thing. Since I'm in the component, just
Yeah.
that shows how much I know. But it doesn't matter where I am in the like if I click on this or whatnot, whenever I click on properties, it's just for the whole
Yeah.
component. There's no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's
Yeah,
create
do
a
a select
again.
for the buttons.
I was going to say
Oh,
for
right.
a heading level.
Oh yeah, that works too.
That's something. To
Oh, I
try
see.
out.
Okay, that's the other thing Kevin did. I need to
You do
rewatch
that?
my own stream later. Heading level, and then we get H1, H2, right? Like we just give
No,
options.
no, because
No?
that's if the option is already there in the default bricks select, you don't
Yeah.
have to put in your own options. You just save it,
Okay, so
just
let's get rid of
create,
this one. Create.
and then you select the heading,
We go to the heading.
and then
Then already
no default.
unconnect, connect
And
it.
now you just connect it to the HTML. Yes.
Heading level. Okay.
And then it calls in the available options from the.
Yeah, how does that work? Let's see
See.
that.
You have to exit the.
Oh, I
Oh,
see.
it's pretty cool. That's
If
nice.
there's already stuff in there from bricks, then you don't have to put in your own.
I
Right.
didn't know that.
How do you?
I've been putting values in there.
Well, how do you would want to, because with this,
I've been
you only
You can
want
do that.
H1,
I've been putting only H1 and 2.
Wait. Why would you want to?
because you don't want people choosing 5, 6, 4, whatever. Like it's those are
Yeah.
not
Okay,
We-
if you only want H1 and H2 to be available, then yes.
But
Right,
we would
that's what
have
you're
to
saying,
try
right?
if that works with this special dropdown. If you can just add your own stuff there.
It
Yeah.
does. It does for
It would.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Brandon knows.
Brandon knows.
Did for
Okay.
me.
Do the I wanted did you the do
And
the
you can add article too. You can add custom ones too.
do the data attribute, because
Okay, walk me through what you did with the data attribute again.
yeah, because I'm curious how we're going to do this. But our goal, because again, I was sold on the styling panels here, is to do the data attribute without writing CSS. So, first thing would just be that you need to add the data attribute to the badge up there.
Fuck. So I need to edit the component.
Yeah.
Where am I?
What is this?
What's that badge
Maddie,
say again, Mark? Is that
new feature. What the hell does it say? I got it. Animated themes.
animated?
And
So you
First, you
Thinking
add
about-
it just statically, so it's there.
Yeah.
exactly. So that was what you did with the data attribute, Kevin, was you created the before pseudo element, and then you use the data attribute to target that and do something with it.
Yeah. So you create the data attribute first. So add a data attribute to that called data badge label.
Attributes.
Data badge label. We'll just put static content in for now.
Okay, and we'll call it.
It's like new. And then you're going to go. You're going to add a pseudo element.
Which again, like,
CSS.
there's no.
No,
fucking
you're not
way.
allowed. You're not allowed. It's supposed to be easy.
Oh no,
I need to use the
Hey,
panels, right?
But Maddie always uses the not the CSS. You can do that, Maddie. You know.
No, Maddie, you got to do the.
No CSS. No CSS.
You're cheating.
Guys, you're fucking torturing me. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do that. That's horrible.
Come on, let's do it together.
Okay,
But
fine,
you do
fine.
that all the time. I
This-
caught you.
No, I did.
I
You
caught
want to
you. You
create
do that all the
before
time. You
the
don't
element
use.
is with the panels?
Come on.
You're just lying.
It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard.
All right. Okay. Let's
It's
do
gonna be
before with the
pretty easy.
panel.
It's gonna be pretty easy.
Okay. So we
Just put
Content
new in the
box.
content box.
No
Sorry?
CSS.
But there's a bug. No. Put in the word new. Just type new.
and then I think without.
Oh, hold on. Did you give this thing a class yet?
No.
Oh,
We're doing it on the ID level right now. Yeah.
No,
No.
you're doing it on a randomly generated class. There's a
Okay.
bug that I can't remember how to reproduce it, but if you add it, I can't remember how you add the pseudo element. If you add it yourself via the selector, I think, what did you do? Generate a pseudo. Hold on, did you use advanced themer for that though?
No, I think this is all basic bricks. What I'm doing right now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
They've just changed a lot, I guess. There's one
Yeah.
bug where the content box never appears unless you can't put any content whatsoever.
Really?
I don't know if they fixed that or not, though. But
Okay,
This
first of
shit
all,
is wild.
What is that content box? I don't even
I'm-
remember that.
I've never once used this before UI like this. I mean, I've
Because it
barely ever done
sucks.
pseudo elements, but
so just type new.
okay, but we're on ID level, Kevin. Can you live
I'm
with
loading
that?
up a bricks.
Oh
Wait,
yeah,
no,
you-
we're not technically.
Have I
good.
never
We need
used
to-
bricks before?
I'm loading it up right now. I want to see. I'm loading it without AT to see.
So this is where I got stuck. I couldn't figure out how to unselect the before and get back to the class, and then
Yeah, it throws me off every time.
Can you just click the before thing again? The button up
Hang
there?
on, I just gotta start
I-
focus mode on this thing.
I don't know.
He's typing in
Okay.
tongues over there.
Again.
Is that German? What is
Wait, wait, okay, so it created a randomly generated class for me, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take
I-
that
I
off.
have
Take delete new. Try to get rid of this randomly generated class and get off the pseudo element.
Oh, I've been trying to do that.
Oh,
Look at this shit. Wait,
Go up to the
Just put the X.
hover.
to what?
no.
I mean, I
What
can't.
happens when you
Like,
click the X?
Click the X next to it.
Yeah, just blow it up.
that's how you leave the.
Mute it.
When in doubt, just fucking blow it up. Oh my god, did you lose your
Okay,
properties?
let's go back in here.
Or do we-
Lost it.
We are professionals.
Oh my god.
He did say this was going to be the crash and burn segment.
I did say that.
Goods is
Oh my
advertised.
Okay, but just so we're clear, this button is AT. So
Yes,
No, it
that
is.
AT.
yes,
right?
I was saying that's not
Okay.
vanilla bricks from what I remember.
Yeah, that does make it easier. Hey, I could have just clicked this button. Why didn't anybody tell me?
You don't listen.
But it's still not under your custom class. You need your
Oh
custom.
yeah, the custom class. I remember.
Breathe.
We don't
Breathe.
have to nuke it
Manny.
again.
There it is.
Okay.
Okay, what do we do
Now
now?
pseudo element.
Before.
Okay. But wait, hold on. Can we? What is the native bricks way to do this?
Yeah, I don't.
Turn off
I'm
AT.
looking. I don't think there is there's pseudo hover active focus. Is there no before?
You have to create one.
I mean,
So you add one.
in order to do this in bricks, you need to go on.
The selectors right there. That no. That little
Is it
hover
this?
there. Yeah.
The selectors, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can
No,
you can
but I don't
also
see
write your
before.
own.
Yeah, before is right there. Add
Yeah,
the
right there.
Oh, you can
So
write your own.
that's the same as clicking this button.
Okay. Now write new in the content.
All right, so let's do this. New.
Okay. And then you could just do the adder function here, I guess.
I'm sorry to say, but you're on the div now.
Oh yeah, you're on your
On the-
you're on your main.
Yes, we
Parent.
are. Okay, let's save
Just take
this.
it all off.
Just burn it down again.
Nuke it.
Well, you can put the class on the other thing.
So it goes on this one. Actually, it goes on the basic text element. Okay, so again, before, new. So we did write new in there. And what do we do now?
Position and oh no, position's okay.
Absolute, right?
No, I think
No,
you
it's
need
fine
it
there.
here.
It's fine where it is. It just
Just
needs.
add some padding and
Need a gap.
borders and stuff and gap.
Do a gap.
Do what Kevin says.
Still
I mean,
43
I could do
people watching
this,
the
but
circus
that's-
here.
They're
amazing.
going down the ship, Mark. They've already decided.
Okay, you know what? Let's do a gap. Okay, reposition. No, wait. Where's display? Where's display?
But don't use RAM.
D123 wants to know, can you recap? Why are we doing this in bricks?
He's already looked for the thing longer than I could have just typed gap.
It's
for
true.
fun.
There's gap right there. I found it.
But it's aligned and
Wait. First, we need to do the alignment thing.
broken it to.
That's not. Wait.
lines.
How do
Why?
I?
That's
Why
default.
aren't they next to each other?
Oh, because you're putting. Oh,
Holy hell. Oh
What
my
the
God.
hell?
You
I
flex your
hate to inform you, but you are styling still the pseudo element and not the parent, and you need to style the parent. The gap has to go on the parent.
Yes, of course.
Ah.
You put
Of course, I need
When you
to
put
start
flex
here.
on the pseudo element, it turned it into its own line.
Just
No,
add
Yeah,
some.
oh, yeah, of course, obviously that's what happened. Okay, obviously, I mean,
It was amazing.
I mean, obviously this is making Kevin's case for him, so I'm not going to deny that.
This has been the most
I mean,
entertaining part of the stream.
it's kind of impressive that all this shit
What
is jammed in here, but it's just hard to use.
Maxime.
It's there. But I mean, like I wouldn't be using these. I would be writing my CSS in here, right? So because as we can all see, this is a shit show.
Yeah, that's the point.
It's user error.
That's the point, Maxime, is that you have to learn the language of the builder, because like in a tool that just speaks the language of web design, you're just free to speak the language of web design. We don't have to figure out what the builder's trying to do for us or how it's trying to do things. Or
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should just shut up and let Maddie concentrate.
Concentrate.
No.
Concentrate. We need to go to the pseudo element and put the adder function in.
Pseudo. And then I put what in?
So
All
replace
right, the adder thing. Okay.
No. Replace the word new.
Yep.
With ATTR.
Exactly. That part I heard you do that, but I didn't see you do that.
And then you're going to type in parentheses the name of the data attribute that you use, which you hopefully can remember because you can't see it anymore.
Yeah, I clearly don't.
Hidden in panel.
Anybody? Does anybody remember it? So
wait, hey! You got to pay the price. You got to go back and look. You got to go back and look.
Of course, I
pay the toll.
Pay the toll.
Oh,
so my team is burning me here.
No idea.
After 3 years of using bricks, I expect you to do slightly better. That's it.
Yeah, Maddie, come on, man. Pull it together.
You are better, usually.
Figure it out.
I'm better than this. That's what I tell myself every morning in the mirror.
Affirmations.
Where did the new go? Oh, yeah, right. We just deleted it. Okay, so...
Try hitting the reload button again.
Where did we put the
Don't do that. Don't do that. It's way worse.
Maddie, do you ever save, by the way? Just wondering. This guy lives dangerously.
Well, who remembers where we put the fucking attribute?
This is a lot of panels. It's a lot of panels, guys. It's a lot of panels.
Where did I put the attribute at?
Take a deep breath.
Maybe nowhere. Because you didn't save?
Oh, yeah, you didn't save it.
You just exploded.
Oh, shit.
It's supposed to be on the badge.
Okay, so it's supposed to be here.
Yeah, it's supposed to be there.
Attributes. And we called it new.
Data.
Data badge label.
Data,
oh, yeah, it needs to be data something, right?
Data.
Badge label.
Whatever. That's fine.
Just make sure you remember it.
At this point, Kevin is like, have I taught you nothing?
Is badge label a German word? All one word?
Yeah. That's how we do it.
Badge label.
Put in new, Maddie. Put in new. There you go.
Okay.
Don't do new.
Mark. So here's what I would now do. I would just open a text editor.
Oh, Jesus.
Put it on another screen.
Your resignation letter.
At this point, I'd open VS Code and just type it in there to save it.
In VS Code, I don't know what that is. I never heard of that.
It's an ID.
Okay, so we're back to the before, and now we put the adder. And do we just do that?
Yes. Now you have to style it.
Reload,
it worked.
Chat's going crazy. Oh, shit.
It worked. Shut up, Mark.
Shut up, Mark.
Give it some padding, give it some background colors, give it some border. Got to get a border in there.
And that's where bricks shits the bed, isn't it? Like, how do I style the attribute?
Oh, you're on it. You're
Just
on
go.
it.
Yeah, you're right there.
I'm on the before. Okay. Yeah.
Like for border, when I did border, var border.
Right.
I don't
Also,
know if you can do that.
I don't know if you guys noticed this before, but if I do 1 pixel bottom, like, hang on.
Can't see it? Or...
No, that's the thing. Look, it puts 2 pixels here. Like, for no fucking reason. You see, guys, see that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like you need to actually put zeros in here.
Oh boy.
Wacky.
And
Well,
now it works. Right.
So we have a variable. You literally just have to write the word border and then var border. And I don't think you can even do that in the styling panel. That's like a major issue.
You would have to use all the
You have to use the
variables.
Yeah, you got to put border size in the size in all the boxes, and then you got to put border color dark in the color field.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not on here.
I'm not even on the right thing.
Using ACSS. Yeah, just style it. Just put a border in there. Put a background color.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so
Look at the mouse. He's just going crazy. Just moving the mouse all over the place.
No. This has to be on the pseudo element.
I know. There.
We will get there.
And then we put some padding on it because it's fun.
I can't believe Maddie volunteered to do this.
I know.
Well, somebody has to get roasted here. Okay. So it looks like shit, but it's done.
Andre did say that inserting only one side of the border works without problem in plain bricks.
Oh, is that a
Really?
AT thing?
I don't think so. I think it's a bricks thing. Who said that? Who said that?
Who said that?
Andre Slaughter.
Andre Slaughter.
He knows what's up.
Okay, Maxime, the person here who's saying, my theory is Matt always pretended to be part of the dev community, but he just started a week ago and he has no idea what he's doing. Maxime, you just found an AT bug. Just for you.
Curtis, this is a bricks user. This isn't a biased look at bricks. This is a literal user.
Indeed, it is.
You can
And Maxime wouldn't be an unbiased look at bricks. He is literally, I think, partnered with Thomas. that wouldn't be your source for the unbiased look
He's
at
being
bricks.
sponsored by Big Oil. Okay.
Big Oil.
And what do we do with this now? Now that we styled it and
Now you want to fill it up with a component? Like add a component and put the value in the attribute. The shut up mark, you want to... Do you have a prop? I'm sorry.
a prop.
I'm sorry. Add a
Why
prop.
did all the styling just disappear? Just I'm curious. Now it's back. Okay, now it's back. Good. Now it's not back.
No, it
Check
is.
the
Every time
CSS.
when you click that button, it removes the pseudo element, I think.
No, it doesn't. It just disables it. It's still there, right?
There. What's happening that it...
Okay, it's just a
It's
render.
definitely still there, but you have to select it in the box, right, to edit it.
Just save and reload and see. But it's
Apologies.
there. Must be.
Nuke it.
Oh, it could just be a rendering thing.
Or are you turning it off when you do that?
No.
That's
It's just failing to render.
Okay, back into the component.
Okay.
Add a prop.
I'm learning here.
On the
I'm
left.
learning a lot.
This is great. Let's go for another 5 hours.
Yeah, right?
Let's do a marathon.
I mean, this
Overnight.
finally woke up Brendan.
Is this like
Nothing else could, but
That's because I got a nap for the first hour.
yeah.
I'm supposed to physically tap out? Is that why I'm still here?
Yeah.
I forgot to tap. Did I get choked out? Am I
go tap.
Add one, Maddie.
am I
Add it first.
dead? Am I still alive?
Go there.
Maybe they choked me out and didn't let me. They didn't let go.
I didn't hear no bell.
I'm in hell right now. That's where I'm at. Purgatory.
Okay, so we have properties. What happened to wasn't there another property that we did at some point?
Did you reload?
I probably didn't save. Okay. So the idea here was that you're going to put different content in the attribute, right? Depending, and it could be a drop down, for instance, right? That's what you were doing, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do a drop down. You could just do a text field if you wanted to. You know, drop down sounds dangerous at this point. Let's just go with.
Yes, it's true. Okay, so badge content.
I didn't say I was unbiased. I just said.
What about
Yeah,
the
that's
group?
true.
How does that group work?
I never
It's
yeah, I
just
never
for,
dared
like,
touch that. I don't know.
yeah, you can have like styling content. You can just order the props according to what they refer to.
What's that? What's that little folder do next to properties? The plus button next to it.
It's
that's
that is
groups.
the group. Yeah.
But is that groups just for this component though?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not like okay.
And
That's right.
it's accordions. You just say it's about all the props that are about styling and content and images or whatever.
Imagine
might
if you have
wanna-
enough props to have groups in this.
Well, we
Holy
might want to put them in a group and just see what it does. I've never even seen that before. I don't even know what it does.
It just adds a accordion with the group title, so you can just
Oh, okay.
More things to click.
yeah.
More panels.
So Curtis says,
Could
no
be
way
good.
it takes this long to do this in bricks, right?
Only
I
if
mean-
you have a lot of people talking to you at the same time.
Exactly. You have to. I mean,
You could do it faster, but it is.
you can do it faster. First of all,
frustrating
if you're more used to it. I mean, everything becomes muscle memory after doing it for a few times. But yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still like, that's what I said, right? I'm still kind of new to these components. in
It's
bricks.
still very inception-y, which slows you down tremendously in itself. And it's just it gets very confusing. 'Cause, you know, I did it on plenty of streams, and it is confusing.
I guess like a good useful question here while we have Kevin is, when do you make the decision to make a new component versus like stem off and make a component sort of variation, or like, you know, branch off and, you know, okay, we're going to make, you know, another CTA here, or branch off and add a new, you know, another component here, or whatever. How do you make the decision?
A lot of those things answer themselves. It's almost kind of like BIM. It's like if it's used in a completely different context. So like you might have a service card and a blog post card that look relatively similar. Like they both have a featured image, they both have a heading, they both have text, and you might think you can get away with just like, let me just make one card because they are very similar, and I'll just put a couple little variations in there. But then you get into loops situations and mapping data, and you start to realize like, this isn't going to have what I need for services, even though it has what I need for blog posts, or like it's so. In my mind, it's like anytime the context is shifting, it's almost like thinking CPTs, thinking BIM. Anytime the context is shifting, make it a new thing, make it its own thing. So you will have a blog post card component and a service card component, even if they kind of share most of the same elements and structure and even design. They're two completely different contexts, therefore they deserve their own component.
Mm-hmm.
So most of those cases answer themselves if you follow that line of thinking.
So you probably don't really ever have one component that like services two different CPTs.
No, I would actively avoid it, because you don't know what you don't know yet. Like you're gonna get, maybe it works in 90% of the cases, but then you find that one case where it doesn't, and now everything has to be undone or rebuilt or whatever. Like it's just way safer to just make a different component and let it live in its own context and let it be controlled in its own context.
That seems like a good rule of thumb. I think there's probably still a lot of instances where, especially if you don't have like a consistent designer, that like you could look across a website and you would be like, yeah, that layout, I'm not talking any like loops or CPT, but like that intro layout or that section layout or whatever, like that's similar enough. But then like, you know, as we were doing over on Etch or even here, like, I don't know. I think that the other question that makes sense because that's different context, but like how big can a component get before you start to be like, okay, maybe this is actually different.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you're having to put so much logic in, like there's so many different variations of how this thing can behave. And then, because we didn't even get into the land of container queries, how this thing is going to behave automatically inside different available spaces.
Right.
Or media queries can get involved in there. And so if there is now some components just need that level of complexity. But if there is a point you arrive at where you'd be like, hold on. Like most of the time I'm using this thing over here like this. and that component, like version of it, is finished, and I just need this special instance. You might just duplicate that thing, create a new component out of it, add the extra functionality for that specific use case, and then use them as separate components. Like there's not a fixed rule. It's more like it's a feeling experience, kind of just like vibes kind of situation. Like there is no fixed like yes, no. It's that's where your experience, your expertise, all of that come in to make a decision about that.
And also keeping in mind that components are not one level, one dimensional. You can nest components, right?
Yeah.
So in
So
bricks,
you can have
you
slots.
can't yet, particularly, I don't think.
No, you can't.
You can kind of do it in a weird way that you can't really you can do a component grid and then put like components in them, but it does not really work. And it's not the same way like in Etch or in other like actual components in web components. So that's the other thing people forget, that you can put components within components. So don't overcomplicate a single component.
Yeah. Like one could argue that the CTA buttons could just be a slot. And then you could, if you wanted buttons in there, you could put buttons in there. And if you didn't want buttons in there, you wouldn't put buttons in there. And you could have a slot for, you could have more than one slot. So you wouldn't want to put a slot for like this badge up here, because that's something that, unless you had it as its own separate component. And see, that's where we get into like, does that, if that thing is, that badge right there that we're looking at, that's sick. Okay. If that never lives outside of this introduction, then I'm probably not going to go through the hassle of making it its own component, making it live as a nested component in this intro, or be used in a slot. That just seems like we're adding more complexity for no like realistic payoff, because I'm looking at all the designs. I never see that badge used outside of this intro. Seems like it's an intro belonging badge. I'm just going to create it as part of the intro and move on with my life. So
what's like the real?
It's analysis.
What's like the realistic limit to the depth of how many nested components you'd have? Like 3 max?
I think if you're at level 3, you should probably start to question things. Like maybe like that might be a red flag. Like hold on, let me pause here and see what we're really doing. What are we really trying to accomplish? But it depends. You got to keep in mind too that there's patterns involved. Like you can have a pattern that's not a component. Like a general hero section is not. I would not make that a component. And I think if you make a hero section a component, like the entire hero section, you're overdoing components, and you're getting into you're making your process way more convoluted than it needs to be. That should just be a pattern. Just save it as a pattern. Move on with your life. Now it can have a component in it, like an intro, okay, or a slider. A slider is an obvious use of a component. So the pattern will have a component inside of it, but the pattern is not a component itself. And then, of course, you have templates, right? And then templates are going to be made up of components and patterns, probably a combination of the two. So all of these things work together, and you got to know, how they fit and how they interact. Which is another reason why you have a lot of interfaces where, like in bricks, for example, and this is not just bricks. Elementor does the same thing. I was watching another Elementor creator the other day, and he's like, "Yeah, this is my templates area," and he's literally got like these like synced pattern things living in here, and they call everything a template. And it's like, what's the real template? Where are the real template? And now he's sorting through 70 like partials essentially, and they're all called the same thing. They all act and behave differently, and it's just a nightmare. It's an absolute, like, you got to call things what they actually are. You gotta get down to the more advanced. This is kind of the point I'm gonna make. The more advanced web design gets, because now we're introducing. Remember, bricks didn't have components 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't have variables at one point. Okay. So like the workflow continues to change and evolve. We're getting into CSS land where we have literal if functions, light dark functions inside of property values. UIs, there is no UI that can handle that right now. Bricks has no container query UI. So we should be using container queries, but there is no UI for it. And that raises the question: is there a point where the UI, because we see as the UI tries to handle this more and more, like we saw with pseudo elements. I mean, that should be relatively simple. That's probably compared to container queries. I mean, that's night and day in terms of simplicity, and it can barely handle that. I mean, without everything getting convoluted and confusing. The more stuff that gets built into web design in general, the more these style panels are going to fail. And the more you're just going to need to know what you're actually doing. And the quicker you can get to the code, the quicker you can get things done, and stuff's not getting in your way, and you're not getting confused, and you're not getting lost. That's just the point I've been trying to make. Like the panels worked when it was like padding, margin, text alignment, color. Okay, great. Then you get in the land of container queries and pseudo elements and data attributes, and now there's JavaScript interaction, and now there's loops and logic. And okay, the UI is like really struggling now to keep up. The UI is getting, there's 1,000 buttons. There's things everywhere. I got to go through 70 different panels to do the work that I'm doing. At some point, we got to stop and be like, all right, I think we need to rethink how this is being done now. Like it's obviously, it's they jumped the shark a bit. We got to back up.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing with Etch.
I mean, that's, I've been gravitating towards, while I'm still in Bricks, I've been gravitating towards just writing my CSS in the CSS panel. Like
it's way faster.
It's just faster.
Why would you hunt down a gap input when you could literally just write gap and put a value in and move on with your life? Like, and then you start to realize that about almost all of the things that you're doing.
Yeah. Now, you said the other day that the alignment stuff, like flex align content center and stuff like that, that's quick, right? Like that's pretty quick to do in the panel. But that's the extent of it. There's anything else here. It's just it takes time to find all that, right?
Yeah.
So,
and like I showed on the Figma, there are other ways to automatically produce flex direction, flex alignment, grid, all that stuff. We don't need the panel inception to produce that.
We have a few more questions. First of all, when does Jamie jump in and build this in Gutenberg? It's a very good question. And so far, he hasn't texted me.
Yeah, he blocked me, so I wouldn't be the guy to ask.
He did block you?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. And yeah, Curtis says, I've been stuck in Elementor for so long, I'm starting to think that real developer tools like Etch are just above my level, despite the fact that I can clearly see the advantages.
Yeah. So let me just speak to that real quick, because I've gotten about 20 emails now from people who literally they're in the first year of learning web design. And they heard about Etch and they watched my videos and blah, blah, blah. And they switched over, and their emails essentially say, like, I was very concerned that I wouldn't be able to do this stuff. I've learned more in the last month than I have in the entire, first year that I've been spending in these other tools. And it's to the point where what they always highlight is how much more confident they feel, and how much they are inspired, like, to keep going, and how bright their outlook is, because they actually feel real empowerment. And that's what real empowerment does for you. And there are, on the flip side, people that have spent 5 years in Elementor. And if you take them out of Elementor and put them in any other environment, they are completely useless. And in the back of their mind, they know they're completely useless in any other environment. And that's not how they want to live. Like, that's not how they want to feel. They want to feel actually empowered. And so more people than, like, the biggest critic, Kevin, you're not going to track the beginner. The beginner's not going to use, they actually do. Like, that was what PB 101 proved. Like, so many people switched to Bricks because of PB 101, because they realize, like, it feels so much better to actually learn and know what I'm doing. It's just,
speaking of which, are you working on the next PB 101? Is that happening?
I'm not working on it. I do it live. And so I think I was going to start it in November, but then I'm thinking, like, oh man, we got holidays. I'm going to be out half of November. I'm on a cruise. Then it's Thanksgiving. And then there's going to be the Christmas holiday break. And we're traveling. We're going to New York. We're going to, like, that's going to be a nightmare. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to kick off first thing in January, kick off the new year with a new PB 101, Era 4 PB 101. And it's going to be great.
What other questions do we have? So D123 has been repeating the same question in different wordings. Why are you trying to learn more about bricks? Why are you doing this in bricks? Why are you doing this to yourself? Why am I still in bricks? Like, first of all, it's still a pretty fucking good builder. Let's not kid ourselves. It's like, compared to everything else, this is, I would say, the second best builder out there right now. I do have the experience in bricks. I do know what's where, and for the clients that I have, I mean, for me, it's like I use this to make a living, right? I use this to feed my kid. So there's only so much time I have in the day to really learn an entirely new builder. Although I do want to. I mean, I bought, just to be clear, I did buy Etch on day one, and eventually I will be an Etch user. I can see that happening. But right now, if I need to build a website for, like, I don't know, daycare nanny or something like that, it's something that I can quickly do in bricks, right? And it still allows me room to grow. Like for instance, with the components, there's still, I mean, it's still components. Like, once I move to Etch, I'm still going to be able to use the actual things that I learned about components in bricks. It's just going to probably be more convenient, easier, and yeah. But that's why I'm, at the moment, I just don't have the time in my day to switch builders, because I understand that, like, whenever I see Etch, whenever I see Anya using it, whenever I see it in videos, I'm like, that's fucking great. But at the same time, here's my project. It needs to be done by the end of the month, and I know how to do it in bricks. I just have it. It's muscle memory in bricks. That's the whole truth about it.
Yeah. You're still trying to pay off your lifetime licenses, huh?
That too. Yeah, that too.
I'm just kidding.
What do you have here?
Yeah, you kind of have to take one step back to take 10 steps forward, because like as David just mentioned here, look, Etch it's easier, it's faster, it's more capable, it's all the things you actually want going forwards. But you are going to have to take one step back to.
You need to make room to
learning the interface. You're familiarizing yourself a little bit. I'm gonna publish a video, even though the audio sucks because it doubled the audio on my guest. But I got a developer. I got a WordPress developer, like a literal developer, who had never used Etch before, never seen Etch before, and I just brought him in and I said, "Hey, just build some cards, toss a loop, make a component if you want to. I'll kind of, if you get lost, I'll walk you through where things are." It was like 20 minutes in, he was so giddy about like what he was able to do and just write and see, like, he's just writing his code. Then he's clicking some buttons and he's like making a component. Then he's like throwing in a loop and he's looking at the loop output and the loop config. And because everything is the language of web design, there wasn't really any, it was like micro learning about where something might be in an interface. But he literally knew everything he needed to know to do all the things he was doing without any interference, and actually enjoying the fact that it was all done in the same place. Like, and he got the benefit of the unified development environment concept. And that goes to show you, like, and that's why, like, PB 101 drives this point home. Learn the language of web design and then use tools that respect the language of web design. And there is no learning curve anymore. There is no learning curve. The learning curve is learning the language of web design. And then if you use a tool that respects it, you're off to the races. You don't have to figure anything out.
Yeah. But yeah, it is taking one step back. It's like I'm waiting for I have this high quality problem that I just have a lot of work to do. And as soon as it slows down a little, I'm just going to sit down and, really familiarize with Etch. But it hasn't happened so far. I think that's a real barrier for I don't consider myself a real developer because I've never worked for an agency. I mean, yeah, that's imposter syndrome talking. I'm very familiar with that.
But I've seen so many agency.
Give yourself more
doing
credit.
shit.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's
Like,
not really about agency. It's about your own.
You are a real developer if you are committed to the process of learning and growth as a developer and you're doing development. That's why even though they find it insulting, like, the people who are, no, I don't want to ever touch code. I just want to use no code tools, but they want to call themselves a developer. And it's like, I just had this argument on Twitter by the next guy that's probably going to block me. So, he's essentially trying to tell me like, no, you can be a developer without touching the code. I'm like, but you don't even know the principles of the code, like much less like, are you touching it? And this is another person, spend 5, 6, 7, 10 years, however many in Elementor, but can't do anything outside of Elementor, doesn't really know what he's doing, wants to say develop. And that's where I say, yeah, you're not, because you know why? Because it's not about the skill and ability that you have right now. It's the fact that you are actively rejecting learning. That is, you don't want to know the best practices and principles. You just want to clicky click. And so, no, you don't get to call yourself that, right? You can be day one and call yourself a developer if you're literally like, Kevin, I'm committed to learning development and I want to study the best practices and principles and I want to do things the right way and blah, 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 blah. Great. Call yourself a developer all day long. I don't care how good you are at it because you have the right mindset, right? But you can't come in and reject all of this stuff and be like, no, I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to really know anything. I just want the tools to do everything for it. Okay, well, don't call yourself that then. And don't sell yourself as that then.
And let's be real. There's not that many professions where that argument actually flies. I mean, my dentist. I'm not going to go to a dentist that thinks that way, or a lawyer.
Yeah. You have to do continuing education in almost any profession, right?
Yeah. You
can't just continue to hit the ceiling and then just like bump your head against it and be like, oh, cool, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow,
especially this one, it literally goes at light speed. Like it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's never done.
Yeah.
So
always
my wife's getting antsy. I'm enjoying the fuck out of this. I mean, we're close to 4 hours.
Is this a record?
This is the record. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nice.
So,
coffee. Let's go.
I mean, we still have, we still have 42 people watching. So we're gonna have 42 is a good number.
I gotta get some food.
Yeah, I gotta go to my Halloween party now.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, it's Halloween tonight. I gotta get ready.
I got it.
Get ready.
There you go. You're good.
Nice.
My kids got me dressing up as the lion from the Wizard of Oz. So, I got a lot of prep work to do, guys.
Oh, you got to go find some courage.
I do.
Okay. Well, this was really great. Thank you so much for taking part in this. To Kevin and to Alan, and of course also to Anya. Thank you for jumping in and destroying me together. Also, just parting words from Maxime here. Tell Matt to avoid making vids about Etch when he will jump in, or he will ruin the reputation of the builder. I'll let you know, Kevin.
I don't know. I think again, Etch just reveals skills. It just reveals like, do you know it or do you not know it? It's not about Etch. It's about the language. What we saw in terms of frustration in bricks was the layer that we were forced to interact through to try to get done what we wanted to do. That layer doesn't exist in Etch, and so you just do it and it's done. And you can either do it or you can't do it.
True.
You can always learn.
Okay. Any parting words from anybody? Anything else?
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
And again, for anybody who came in new, I'm just going to plug this once more because I really believe in it. Is my screen share still on? Yes. The Enemies Project on YouTube, youtube.com. Because they're doing
Matty's getting commission from these guys.
I'm starting to wonder. Did he give you any sponsorship money, Mark?
We're gonna see him on the next episode.
Oh yeah, big time. It's a documentary series where they're bringing people together who are really on very different sides of hot topics these days, or hot button issues, and they're having conversations and establishing dialogue. And I mean, that's what we're trying to do here, at least to some extent. And this, I think, like, if we want to unfuck the world we live in, this is what we need to do. So this is a really, to my mind, a really important project. They have a Kickstarter, so check it out. If anybody's interested in this, if anybody says, that sounds like a good thing, check out the YouTube channel and go to their Kickstarter and throw them a couple bucks. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
See you guys.
Have a good
Bye.
one.
See you, everyone.
Enjoy your Halloween. Bye.
See ya.